Hey, Daniel. I intended on using this amp tonight, but it's not playing. It's not playing well. See if it's going to work now, just at an off chance. Kind of sounds like it. Are you actually going to work now? Wondering how long that'll work for. It keeps cutting out. It's really annoying if anyone's an amp expert and why it's doing this. Never used to do it until I fixed it. Then I fixed it. Hey, Ruben, Alex, how's it going? I think I was a wee bit late starting. It's actually it's past bucky time, so I can start drinking. Well, continue on with this bottle from last week. I can't remember what number was it. 16. Cheers. Give it a wee shake. Get the toenails. And I think this amp's actually just packed in, isn't it? I just heard it beep. Not yet. No, it will. I'm hoping that maybe just by leaving it on, it'll warm up. I don't know. If things do warm up, it's all tubes. It's not all tubes. It's not any tubes. Yeah, Bucky does get a tint when you leave it for a week. It's got that old bottle taste. If you're ever down in England and you manage to find a shop that sells Bucky, it might have been on the shelf for a couple of years. Tastes like that. I don't know why that is. Do the sulfites reintegrate into it or something like that? I'm sure it'll taste better when I get down. I did buy an emergency choice of cider if I finish that and decide to continue going. Wet Lettuce is a guitar between Tony Ober belonged to Bertie Bassett. It does not. I don't know what the guy's name is, but it belongs to someone in America. It's not been bought yet. Hell of a lot of work on this one. I just think it looks. I don't know. I used to have a. When I was a kid, there was remember Rubik's cubes. There was another Rubik's cube, which I think might have been. I don't know if it was made by the same people that we used to have, and it wasn't a perfect cube. It's like the corners were so it was a sort of an octagonal on one side, and then it was kind of like a cylinder, but it was basically a Rubik's cube, and that like the stickers were those colors. So I've been calling it the Rubik's cube. It does have a name. I can't remember. Some artist that I don't know, De Bonnier or something like that, who does things like that. I don't know. Slightly inspired. I mean, Jen is selling those guitars at an alarming rate. Something like 6 this week. So there might not be very many more. The last of the cheap ones. These might be the last of the cheap ones because they actually got a a prototype from Dave the Luthier in America, in Montana, who makes like $2.5 grand guitars by hand, and he's wanting involved. So he's sent a prototype over, and Jen's painted it up. So there might be a premium J-Pax guitar, not ones for the likes of us, people for people who like the idea of spending lots of money. Oh, it's like it's too cheap. Have you got any more expensive guitars? Which is I used to get selling the Bucky casters. Have you got any more expensive guitars? I don't like the idea of spending £150 on a guitar. I'm better than that. So I charge you more if you want for the same thing. Hey, Sparky, how's it going? See, I've not quite hit my sub thing yet. Shouldn't take long. I'm only, was it 97, something like that? I'll have a quick check. Be nice if people popped in. If I'm seeing as I'm after subs, be nice if I hit four grand tonight. I'm at refresh that 3993. So another 7 to go. If you are that 4,000th one, you win a special prize, and it's not a very good special prize. I straight sold that Chapman one, so it wasn't for you then. I have to be honest, because Chapman are worth a bit of money, I would have probably sold it as well. Now, most of the guitars I've got are ones I tend to keep, are ones that I reckon aren't worth as much. They're worth more money than what I would get for selling them. The way I'm looking at it. I think someone told me that was like Clarice Cliff. I'm not really sure. I vaguely recognise the name from. Did I ever watch the Antiques Roadshow? I think I must have, or something like that. I don't know. Hey Rocco, how's it going? Anyone else apart from me noodling on the guitar while watching? I'm not noodling. I'm expecting this amp to cut out at any minute now. But boy, does it work well with this guitar. It's just amazing. It seems to be very in tune with pickup selection. This guitar, it's like, so there we are in the middle position, and it's sort of clean. Bit of that. Maybe not so much if we put the drive on. You get a sort of cleanish. And then humbucker modes. What, 2006 335? I've still, maybe one day I'll find the 335 type that I like. I've had half a dozen of them, and I keep liking them for a month and then just kind of going, yeah, nah. I don't know, something about them. I think, again, like I always say, I think there's a slight, maybe unfair reputation that's been tarnished by that, the Antichrist of rock. Noel Gallagher plays one, so it makes me think of him a little bit. So I did see Oasis live, so I just think of the 335 played through like all those distortion things and strummed. And it's like, strumming is not a thing. Malco don't strum. Well, I should probably just put in a wee simple backing track. I was thinking this, just like how much use. In fact, it's annoying. I need to have a look on the back of this amp, see if it's got an effects loop. I like the idea of being able to use all the sounds from this amp, because it does have quite a good clean. But I'd love to be able to put that on a loop and then use the distortion on top of it. I'm still on the hunt for buzzing frets on this thing. It's really annoying. Because it's my guitar and I know it should be the best guitar in the world, it's like there's a slight buzz. But it might be in my head. There's a lot. I can see that there is a bit of a. there is a little bit of it. It's something to do with this horn, but it's also to do with the fact it's got binding on it. It kind of makes it look slightly on the Rickenbackery side. I get it. I don't really know what. I mean, I suppose it's a Strat, sort of. It's kind of actually not, maybe not that far off that. The Rubik's Cube guitar, kind of that sort of. It's obviously a Strat, but it's got like hard edges on it and other things. 23 frets, still about the first guitar I've ever come across with 23 frets. Hey, Mr. Whitesnake, Bantam, but the thing is, it's sometimes it's just in your head. When I was sitting there, and this was a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting there getting really annoyed with the fact it was still buzzing, and then I was watching a video with Danish Pete playing some guitar, and it was like it was a PRS or something like that, and he was just doing this sort of Stratty thing, and I was like, his guitar's buzzing as well, so I think it's just guitars just kind of buzz. It's just because I'm kind of wanting it not to. I'm I don't even know if anyone. It's such a small buzz, maybe. It does have one, doesn't it? I did a video with this guitar and amp yesterday because it was working. It does this thing when you turn it on and it seems to die 3 minutes later, and then it comes back again. I don't know what it's done. I'm worried that at one point I thought I might have damaged the cable actually physically going to the speaker, because it seems to, when it dies, it kind of just plays it very far in the distance, and if you hit the strings hard, it's almost like it's trying to force a signal through a crappy wire, or through like a wire that's only got one strand left. It needs to kind of get a certain amount of power going through it before it kind of releases it, like a gate. It's really annoying. Because I'd like to use that amp a bit more and get a bit more, get some use out of it. I mean, I've got it there obviously because it looks fantastic. This is this coily lead is kind of doing my head in a little bit as well. The other thing that's possibly happening is, as well, when you're playing through something that clean, there ain't no mistakes let through. So maybe it's just I'm not quite fretting it right. Obviously, you're not hearing it here, with just getting compressed and stuff by YouTube. But I mean, I'm still playing it. Getting a new lead in Surf Green. Good luck. Leads are a pig. My favourite lead died a couple of weeks ago, last week. It was just really annoying. The one I've been using for ages. It's just like, leads are so annoying. I've got so many of them. I don't like obviously throwing them out. So I've got so many leads, and half of them are broken. I have been through them, and basically I cut them in half and used the sides that worked. But I think the thing is, see, once a lead has got to the age where it starts snapping inside itself, it's not just going to be one bit that's gone weak and corroded. The whole thing will be like that. So you can cut it in half and use the other half, but you've got a very limited time when a lead just it's been bent and rolled up just too many times. I'm worried if you're going to buy I don't know, you said a surf green, not a surf lead. I did buy a modern curly lead a couple of years ago in Guitar, a Fender one. It was only 15 quid, which I didn't think that was that much for a really cool cloth covered lead. And see, when you did that, it went. So I took it back in and it was like, yeah, this lead, when you move it, it just crackles. You're like, no, it's obviously it's not the connection that's crackling, it's the actual lead in the middle. And the guy's like, up here, oh yeah, just, yeah, let's try it out. So it does. And he tried another one off the packet, and it was exactly the same. And he said, yeah, this sort of lead's not really meant for you. This is meant for someone who's sitting with their, their 60s Fender. They're very expensive, playing into a very, very expensive amp. And I'm like, right. Is that, and they just sit there. They don't move about or rock or anything like that. So it doesn't really matter if it makes a noise when you move. And it was just like, yeah, man, I'll just have the money back. Thanks. Hey, Trackcast, how's it going? Tone green. Well, I only wish I had a tone lead. I actually did look up. You get very expensive leads. They're about 60 quid, and they're made of special things. You only come in half the length and all that. I did think of buying one of them, but they were as used by all the famous people, but they're studio leads. So I don't really know. They're maybe not as durable, and it's like I don't really want a lead that I can't use. So I want to use my best lead for when I'm in the band, obviously. The one where you don't want it to go. Hey Kenneth, grade B sales bollocks. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Yes, I knew what the guy was saying, but it seemed a bit like you don't actually get those leads anymore either. I looked them up, they don't exist. They were definitely Fender ones, and it was a sort of white coily lead. I think it was longer than this one. I don't know how long this is, but it just seems to be a bit extendy. It always annoyed me if I don't know if anyone's ever seen the Isle of Wight film, the one from 1970, and it's got Justin Hayward, the singer in the Moody Blues, playing Nights in White Satin with his 335, and his amp is miles away from him, and he's just got a curly lead, and the curly lead is pure. It's kind of like that. You say that's not actually going down to the floor. This one is just sitting along, ready to clothesline someone, and the whole time I'm sitting just thinking, it's going to pull it, innit? It didn't. Hey, Steve, team, what's everyone getting from Santa? Should I say the wife? Yeah, I have a wife in it. Got to buy myself something. Tone green. And it was cheap. Oh, Mr. White State, you bought a cheap lead and you expect it to be good. Good luck. I've been there myself. You're looking through the leads, and it's really, I don't know. The thing is, it's not even the ones that you expect to last long that last long. This all goes back to, I remember buying a monster cable for 25 quid when I got my Epiphone EBO, and it only lasted a couple of weeks and then just broke, and it was just like, what's the point spending 25 quid in the lead? So the best leads you get are always ones you find when you buy a guitar. That was where I got my last favourite lead. It came with the Ibanez Roadster. The guy's like, I'll take this lead as well. It's like that was an expensive lead. It was just $18.50 and all that. Here's a receipt for it. Like, yeah, cool. So I did last for a year, but then it went. I'm stress-free and single, mate. I look myself a new guitar. I waited. I just think there's an awful lot of opportunity to buy and sell things on Facebook Marketplace and eBay over Christmas, because that's when people have days off and stuff, and they're sitting there, and it's like they're just sitting up looking up crap on their phone, or maybe they've got some Christmas money left over from and then they think, oh, and then maybe buy something. Hey, Papa Blue, how's it going? So, but does anyone? I don't know. Does anyone actually? I get it. Does anyone here actually look up guitar, decide what it is they're going to get, and then get that one, or because I think a lot of people do that. I mean, I think that's quite a normal thing to do. It's just something I don't do. Be sitting there going, because I'm not looking at new guitars, because I find it more exciting to try and find old ones. So my list of guitars I want, which hasn't had anything on it for. No, to be honest, I did want an Ibanez RG last year, and that's why I ended up with two. But it was just an RG. It wasn't a specific one. Wait until the right one comes along, So that's basically how I get guitars. I'm not looking for anything in particular. Oh, what can you sell me for Christmas? Oh, I was going to say any one of these guitars, but this one's not for sale. Why don't you buy a J-Packs? They'll be limited run. They're starting to sell out. Get one of them now. The latest one is the R2D2, which someone said it looked a bit like R2D2, which it kind of did. I think it's been painted since then. No, it's got a sort of circuit boardy thing going on. Is that quite R2D2? Yeah, this is a Washburn X series, something like that. Just freshly got strings on it. That's the one that's going to appreciate and value most. You can get one of the first 100 when they're still named in the back. Look at it. Demo coming tomorrow for that. It's a habit, like buying guitars. Yeah, Joe, I totally get it. I used to build. I stopped building guitars, but I used to buy them before I realised how good guitars you could get if you went off the beaten track and bought weird ones that nobody else knew what they were. So I would I wanted a Fender 6. And at the time, Squire didn't make one, so the only way to get a Fender 6 was to buy a Fender 6, which are like thousands of pounds. So I made one. I wanted a double neck, but I didn't like a bass and a guitar double neck, but I wanted it to balance properly, and there's none of them do. So I made one that did. Good way to. It's good. It's good fun. There's a certain amount of joy in building a guitar. I think the last one I did was I built a Firebird, and I was pretty accurate with the Firebird, I have to say, which I didn't know at the time. But then I ended up getting shots of Firebird. I never really liked it, and then I kept getting. I had a few Firebirds in for getting like set up and stuff like that. I don't really like them either for exactly the same reason I don't like the one I build. So I need to sell. And I want to buy a Firebird, handmade by me. I researched and found very little. Well, that's basically where you find the good things. The thing is, things have changed so much in recent times, and cheap guitars are bloody great. There is a certain truth to that. I mean, I get that, and people are saying, it's like people who are judging Harley Benton for being really good, and it's like when I was a kid in the 70s, the cheap guitars you got were shite, and that's totally true. They were. You didn't really. There wasn't previously up until when West Tone Thunders came out and stuff like that, because they were kind of pro level, but anything below that was not really usable, like pure crap. Like, and I'm talking in real terms, like £100, £150 in 80s money or 70s money got you a guitar shaped object. Whereas when West Tone came out, suddenly you were getting for, I think they were maybe about £200 sort of thing. You started getting ones that are still going just now, and they're still as good, all Japanese parts and stuff. And then later on in the 90s, you started getting sort of Samick Super Strats and the likes. Right, here we go. I'll go for my usual one. I've got 19 folk on, and I've got adverts going on in 52 seconds. Only 11 likes. Put that up to 22 likes, and I will skip the ads for you because I don't get any money from the adverts anyway. I keep getting demonetized. I don't know. I just get fed up with it. Can't sell it. Yeah, see, that's my problem with them as well. Joe, I don't like the idea of selling them either, because you can't put a monetary price on them, because you look at how long did it take to build, and even if you gave yourself, like $2 an hour or something like that for building it, you're not going to be able to, you're going to be away up at 500 quid, and no one's going to buy it for that. But I do get I can't sell them. That's why I just do modifications instead. It's much easier. Okay, adverts. Sorry, you didn't spike enough likes when you were on. Recent Darkness video shows Mr. Hawkins using a Fender, not an LP. I'm trying to think when I saw him. I think he might have used a Strat for a couple of songs. Was it like a sort of heavy metal Strat, like a humbucker loaded one? It does ring a bell. I thought it was. It certainly used to be just the white Les Paul Custom he used to play. Not True Harmony were cheapos. They're £500. Yeah. Well, we didn't get harmonies over here, so yes, elements of that we didn't. Basically, I don't see that many of the cheapos left. I mean, you kind of get down to you know, there was the Japanese ones, the CSLs, and I've got that, and the Tempest, and all that. But it was a bit of a mixed batch because I think these companies, which were just guitar shops or groups of guitar shops in the UK who club together and buy import guitars. Yes, they did buy, like, you know, Matsumoto Les Pauls and stuff like that, but they also had a cheaper one that would have been the £200 guitar, but they had £100 one, which was had the same badge on it, but was crap. So, you know, that they were always there, and now be worth more money. Ooh, ad for Charvel, really? I've actually got a Charvel there that I just can't decide what to do with. I was really annoyed that the neck didn't fit on that turquoise Ibanez Roadster. I was really thinking that was the perfect marriage. I might just sell it because I reckon a Charvel neck, a Japanese Charvel neck with a pointy headstock with a Charvel written in the big toothpaste, writing maybe got like 150 quid for it or something stupid like that. I mean, if somebody really wants that neck, it's a rare one. Or if you're building a project, you know, buy something good. A few bit of dollar ribbons, you get some blue pill adverts. Hawkins been using a Jazzmaster style with two hums, looks like an expensive copy. I'm not sure, Pontiac. To be honest, it's the sort of thing I would thought I would have remembered. I don't know. I don't remember him using to be honest, I don't remember any guitars he was using when I saw him. I do remember Girl School, who I think were on maybe just immediately before them. The girl, the lead guitar, the singer girl was using a Les Paul Vixen, which was I thought was a really cool looking guitar. Pity it was kind of like a lady's guitar, but it was basically just a sort of thinner, lighter Gibson Les Paul, and it just had the volume and a tone, not two volumes and two tones, and it was kind of like a bit sleeker, but it was really cool. And she broke a string, and then she's like, "Oh, give me your spare guitar." And the other guitarist was like, "No, it's my spare guitar. But what happens if I break a string?" And she's like, and it was like, so she had to use it. So the poor second guitarist had to make sure she didn't break a string because her spare guitar was been played by the lead girl. That's a shame. Hey Jeff, got an RLP sorted out. I did have the 50s wiring. I generally tend to leave it. I don't know. There are different ways of wiring up pots. Does a slightly different thing, I think. But it's more just what you're used to. Oh, there we go. It's gone again. They say it's kind of farting as if it's wanting to come back on again. Get it hard enough, sometimes it comes back to life. Like, what's that all about? It's really annoying. That's an Ibanez AZE S40. I'm not really sure what the AZE is. Is that an S series? Awesome guitars. Yes, I do. The Ibanez S series are kind of a bit more spaceshipy than the RGs, but they're very good. That's kind of like what the Roadster became, sort of ended up going that way. It's like the Roadster went from being the sort of Blazer, the Roadster, and then the Blazer kind of is kind of a bit on, and the Roadster 2 is kind of moving on. By the time you got to the 85, 86 Roadsters, they started going a little bit more like that, and then by 87, the RG came out. So, you know, the one with the more sort of pointy thing, but the Roadster kind of evolved into the Sabre and then the thingy. So it's kind of like all part of a family tree. I quite like it. But I mean, it turned into. I bet you it's an amazing guitar. I bet you it is. The most recent Darkness Cool Eye. So mine was. I saw them. It was only last. It was about last, maybe about 13 months ago or something like that. So they might have done something else. I do watch his Justin Hawkins rides again. It's sometimes quite good. Used to fancy Kim McClaw from Girl School. I think she might be the main girl. They were quite. They're older ladies, but they were still very pretty. The drummer's funny, just looks like someone's mum, and just pure doesn't look like she's giving a fuck. The other two are kind of wearing like, you know, like sort of leather and stuff like that, you know, rock chicks, and then she's just like wearing, I don't know, I think she was just wearing her pajamas, to be honest. Quite funny. Go for it, buy a pink one then. Let us. If you're going to buy a guitar brand new, I would say, yeah, if you're buying an Ibanez or Yamaha, you'll probably get much better. Had an old Carvel bass amp did that. Turned out the transformer had worked a bit loose, and tightening its screws helped. Amp rattled himself to death. See, that could be it. It could be something like that. I mean, I've had that to bits a few times trying to fix the two volume controls, which now work. All right, it's not working now. It's not making the... It's just very stiff. Oh, Ibanez were originally Fender copies. Sort of, not really. Before that, they moved into Fender copies after a while. Yeah, Fender didn't. They didn't actually sue them. There was a cease and desist thing, but it was already over. So, but they'd already done. But by the time that lawsuit came out, they were already doing the Artist series and their IC300, IC30 it was called before it got called an Iceman. I think it was Paul Stanley that called it the Iceman. Yes, Fender didn't sue them though. Gibson put out a thing for headstocks, but by that point, Ibanez were no longer big on the Les Pauls. The whole problem came with the fact that in the 70s, when they started off making the copies, it was fine. I was like, oh, you're making a Les Paul copy. Yeah, okay, fair enough. It costs a tenth as much as a Les Paul, but it's not really, it's plywood though. It's not really that much of a challenge. And then, but as they started going on, they started making guitars that were better than what Gibson and Fender were making, and they were half the price. But it was actually better built guitar. That's when they jumped in and went, yeah. Hey, Joachim. Sorry, I think I saw you earlier on. Didn't say hello. I missed that. Sorry. Oh. All the Japanese, Joe Mum, all the Japanese guitar companies were making their own designs by that point because they thought, why are we copying inferior instruments? We can make them better. Which, in all honesty, they were better, but they didn't realise how much that even now people still want a Les Paul, even if you can get a much better design than it. That's not the one that Jimmy Page played. So that's why all guitars just now are still Strats and Tellys and Gibsons. The five-way Bill Lawrence thing. I've been asked about it a few times. I've seen it, but I've never actually done it. A 0.1 cap for a half face for sweetness. I need more, so a 3.47 could try all three. See if any difference. I think the caps, if you put the three of them in, it depends whether they're in series. If you put them in series, then two of them together would make 0.9. Whereas if you put them in parallel, the two of them together would make 0.23. So try them that way around, see what's going on. You've got an iffy contact there, maybe something shorting out. Yeah, see, I think it might actually be the something as simple as the wire going to the wire going to the cable to the speaker, because that's really the only one I've extended, because obviously the speaker's connected to the amp. You take the head out, so that speaker's kind of getting pulled a little bit. I might have a wee go at doing it a wee bit better than that. Anyone getting a new? Mr. White's saying, who's getting a new guitar for Christmas? Currently, I'm not getting a new guitar. I don't need any more new guitars. I've got plenty of new guitars. I would have to do my roundup of the guitars I bought this year for myself, which unfortunately is a lot because I'd stopped buying guitars last year. I think I did quite well last year. I only bought like 3 or something. But this year, because of the J-Packs thing, I ended up, okay, they're not technically new guitars. I already owned them, but I was going to fix them and sell them. But instead, I got them fixed and kept them. So they kind of ended up, okay. Yeah, Pontiac, I watched Mr. White's video as well. It was just full of the tone. Not as much tone as we have right now though, because he wasn't using tone wood amp. It's like you can all have your proper tone wood guitar, but nobody's got a tone wood amp. Solid wood, 2 pieces. I want a Paisley telly for Christmas. I know. I would like one of them, but the one you'd have to buy would have to be like there's the Fender Japan one, but they're no longer cheap. I remember having a chance of one at 400 quid at one point, and it was beautiful. It was totally yellowed, the pink one, and it just a shame. Been played for 40 plus years. Well, there you go. I haven't. Chris and Jesse, Harley Benton, Mad Cat. Oh, it makes it the Prince to make the Prince style guitar. Yes. My first of the kind of guitars I like now was a Hondo Prince looking telly, as in it was the maple top with the binding and it had the leopard skin scratch plate, but it had a pointy headstock. And I bought it in cash converters for 30 quid. And I couldn't believe when I got it home and fixed the nut how good a guitar it was. And I started really reevaluating what guitars can be. And basically, I don't know how much it applies now, but things like Hondo, never heard of them. Picking them up for 30, 40, 50 quid and better than anything up to, Mexican vendor kind of thing. That again, so in below that, all your Squires and stuff like that was a better guitar. It was only 30, 40 quid. So that was when I stopped. I reevaluated looking at guitars and started noticing that you can actually pick up, maybe not so much anymore for like under 100 quid, but if you just start going a little bit over 100 quid, you start getting guitars that are like pro level that nobody knows about. Mr. Paisley, I'm Tasty. I thought you were being sarcastic there, Mr. Whitesnake. I'd mentioned this before, like the Paisley pattern, because Jen gets told quite a lot that some of her guitars look like a Paisley pattern, and it's like we don't really know what a Paisley pattern is because I know where Paisley is. Paisley's just on the other side of Glasgow, and it's an awful lot more exotic for everyone who doesn't know what Paisley's like. Because as soon as someone says Paisley, you think, all right, Paisley, yeah, totally, I'll go there. Not going there late on a Friday or Saturday night though, am I? I'll go there when it's during the day. Yeah, totally. 54 was playing at age 10. Yeah, I didn't start playing guitar. I was just talking about it. Can I get your autographs? Of course you can, Stevie. Yeah. I sucked for ages. Got a bit of a stick at it. That's it. I know I don't have that. I do occasionally meet quite a few folk that have kind of got out of practice. Even folk who stopped playing. I mean, the guitarist in the Black Sabbath band stopped playing for like 10 years. Just like had his guitars were in the attic, he just never played. It's like, I just can't imagine that happening. Even if I sold them all, I would keep one. And obviously, touch wood, I don't ever, don't have finger problems, lose a hand or something like that. I'm still going to play the guitar forever, regardless. Even if everyone hates it, I'll just play myself. That's fine. Just done the Half Phase Plus series. I had a blind pot by Jasper. Loads of new tones never before heard by humans. All right, interesting. I wonder if the Turbo Lover does some of those tones. But yes. Even picked up drums because all your pals playing away the guitar. Well, there you go. See, I never really had guitarists. None of my pals were. They were all better than me because they'd all played for a couple of years, but none of them were absolutely blowing me away. I kind of get. Then one day, after so many bands communicating with guitar players as a bass player writer, it just started happening. Well, there you go, totally. I think there's an element of people. I still think people play the bass. Actually, the last band I was in, the guitarist, the bass player played the bass because he wasn't good enough on the guitar, but he was a guitarist, so he would write songs that I had to play, and they were like strummed major chords, and it's like you couldn't play the bass, so I had to like get told to play like sort of Nirvana A type chords while he worked out what to play in the bass for it. And it was like this is pure boring, so I hated that. That's why I always went in with riffs, because I thought, right, I've got this riff. What can we do? Let's all work together and make something. Whereas he would come in with no, this is the verse and this is the chorus, just play it like that. And it's like, you know, when you're given, there's nothing you really can do with it. You know, if I had a bass line, I could have put my own thing in. The music of Marshall Cab with a beginner tube top, 5 watts, baby. Yeah. I've seen the beginner, I've never actually owned one, but 5 watts is certainly big enough. As long as you've got a. George Harrison said he didn't pick up the guitar after Beatles unless he was making an album. It's weird, and I think he played ukulele all the time, which is sort of fair enough. Play guitar better than bass. Really? I've always played the bass better, even though I play the guitar 90% more often. I think I've just got a I've just got like an overconfidence in the bass, which is, it can be a bad thing, but I think it's also quite a good thing. You know, put me on bass. I mean, I went up on stage in that blues band in New York. No idea what I was doing, but still the bass, it'd be fine. I could probably have done it the guitar as well, but the bass, I'm just super comfortable. I can definitely play basic bass quite easily, and you can kind of start off. Bass is much easier to kind of find the root notes, play boring bass, put a little bit more in, and then by the time you get to the end of the song, you've worked out where all the notes are, and you can start doing fancy stuff. Oh, there's Space Monkey. My mate Liam, the one who bought a beef kebab, says he hasn't had Bucky in 10 years, but they were 15%, not 12% like now. It's still 15%. I'm going to look now and be impressed. 15%. Are you in Ireland, maybe? Because Irish Bucky's different. Apparently it's a different thing. Every amp should have reverb built in. I mean, the reverb in this thing's like an Accutronics thing. I looked it up. It's 150 quid to buy the reverb tank that's on that. It's like a solid brass thing. It was much easier finding that than it was finding the amp. There still was none. The only amp you'll find that looks like that online anywhere is that one. If there's a photo of my one, no other ones. Often play bass on guitar through pedals, or just using a subbing up thing. Yeah, you can sort of do that. I remember having a real successful attempt at that with a guitar that I built for Civit's wee sister. It was one of your 20-inch, it was a wee purple stag thing, and I've got a Behringer octave pedal, and it was surprisingly acceptable for playing the bass on this thing. To be honest, for me, I've just got a bass hanging on the wall. So yes, I could play the guitar through a sub pedal. I'd have to buy a sub pedal. I'd rather just buy a bass. I'm quite used to just swapping over. One of my favourite Beatles solos is Paul McCartney, Taxman. Yeah. The bass in Taxman's pure phenomenal. The bass in most Beatles stuff is amazing. The bass in Beatles is better than the guitar is in Beatles in general, I think. They're all right. I see Gibson are going after DiMarzio now. Seemed to be about double cream bobbins and pickups, and the term PAF seemed to be over DiMarzio's use of the terms. Possibly, yeah, I don't know. I suppose I get the double cream bobbins. I do know that I've heard this before, because I was trying to get ones for, I don't know, there's none lying about just now, there's one there. The 70s Japan, or the 80s Japan, they were right into these pickups, the double cream. These aren't these are, but DiMarzio now own, because it's got like the hex poles, and it's double cream. That was the DiMarzio look. So you find that an awful lot of, even, well, they're just go-to copies, but all guitars that were trying to be modern in the early 80s had double cream humbuckers. You got cheap ones, but they just look like that. But I know now that if you're buying like from Warman and stuff like that, he does a zebra set with a cream and a black bobbin, but he does a double white, but he doesn't do a double cream because somehow DiMarzio own that. But I get it that if DiMarzio own the copyright to that, that might be stopping Gibson using it, and then Gibson are going to go, hold on. There's this, I don't know if everyone knows the story with the zebra pickups. Was they ran out of the colour, the black ones. So because they were going in below metal covers anyway, who cares what colours the bobbins were? So they basically, from whatever factory was making the bobbins, just gave them, there was a misrun or something like that, so there was lots of cream ones came out. So in below your cover. When in the 70s you decided that you get more output by taking the covers off. People did that, and lo and behold, some of them had black bobbins, some of them had cream, some of them had black and cream. It wasn't intentionally done originally. But you wonder what the term PAF, can they not just say it's a powerful as fuck pickup or something like that? It's just short for something else? I don't know. Is that one there called a PAF? No, it's called a true tone or something. I'm pretty sure it's described as a PAF. I don't know. Yeah. Look at it. Tax on love your soft tech. It's ridiculous, isn't it? That's real snake skin on it as well. It's not attached to it in any way. Basically, this piece is just a piece of wood that comes out. It's still black vinyl. I wrapped real snake skin on it and sellotaped it on from the back, or held it on with duct tape and then put it back on again. So I haven't actually damaged it. I just thought it looked cool having snake skin on the front. I do love that amp. I have yet to, anytime I've taken it into the studio, which I did when I was in Cranking House, it's just, it doesn't sound phenomenal in here at the level of the volume I'm playing at, but see when you put that through like a big cabinet and play it in the studio, it sounds fucking amazing. Absolutely love it. It'll not be for sale. I hate to think how much one of them's worth now, because they reissued it by Electro Harmonics and it was like $1,000 or something like that. So how much is an original worth? Because it's no circuit boards in it. It's all point-to-point wired. So you've got, like, if you look on the bottom of the thing that holds the valve, it's got components like just wired, like it's got capacitors that are just soldered onto that and then soldered onto the volume control kind of thing, just like with no boards in the middle. Started at age 5, played every day possible, started gigging at 16, and only ever played when I was gigging. 11 years later, my way better late night smoking area conversator than a guitarist. See, maybe starting too early. 2 more likes and there'll be no more ads. If you want to miss them. I wish I'd started. Maybe you just didn't have the. I always found that, see, the people when I was, after I'd been playing for a few years, there was always kids who had been could play everything. They'd done music at school. Their mum made them play the piano when they were, and they could always play everything, but they were never as passionate about it. They were always technically quite good, but never had that here we go thing. Okay, you've done it, so skip the ads. I always felt in some ways I was really pleased that I'd never learned how to read music or anything like that at school. So for me, it was never a chore. My mum would make me do. No, not yet. I don't want to end scream. I just want to skip the ads. Oh, 1 second spare. Yeah. It's all funny when you pull a guitar out of nowhere. I can pull guitars out of nowhere all the time. It's ridiculous. I've got I could I could be back with any number of guitars out of nowhere. That's a banging guitar though. Was that this year? Was that last year? I can't remember. That though, I mean, I didn't pay a lot of money for it, but the thing is, I can't sell it because it's an absolute belter of a guitar. I'd put that up against. Here's a $1,000. Off you go, guitar. Right, find a better one than that. Not happening. It's just so well built. Not even 100% sure who built it. Yoshi. It might be a Yamaki guitar. We just don't know. But I mean, it's absolutely banging. It's this is from the era when you don't upgrade these guitars, so you don't need to, because it's all Gotoh stuff on them anyway. It's just basically that's it. There's nothing really I can do with it. It's already got a coil split. What else do you want? Oh, Dorothy said that if chickens ever understood helicopter technology, we're in big trouble. Took the covers off my Hurricane. Hum's all glue on them. They're white. Couldn't clean them up. They're probably something that'll clean them up. I don't know what it is, though. You might melt something in below it. Didn't know Buckfast is Bucky's not. It's 15. It says on it. They do change the ingredients a bit, but we don't notice. Hey, Sniff my tip. How's it going? Well, wait, lettuce. You got to sort that out. Get on Amazon, get yourself a bottle, and try it. Snakes are often associated with guitars. Many who play them in the desert usually have long hair. I don't think I've ever seen anyone play a snake, but they might do it. Yeah. I used to say that I had long hair because it helps me, makes me play the guitar better. Was always my excuse, and everyone would kind of go, "Okay." No one ever argued that point. See, music theory to me is like maths. I hate maths. I like maths, but I don't. I can't figure that out. If you've never seen the film Amadeus, check that out. There's a bit where he's reading music off a page, and it's like pure the joy of reading music when you can actually just look at a sheet of music and hear it. You know, I'm not saying you're looking at it and going, "All right, A, F sharp, G." You know, no, I'm actually just looking at it and it just goes. Ba, 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 ba. That's what you hear when you see it, which I quite like. Dorothy's on his shrooms again, permanently. Yeah. Yeah, come now. So we're trying. Yeah, Joe. I think that's part of it. I mean, obviously, it would be great to have the knowledge, but I learned through the absolutely wanting to learn. I started off playing Black Sabbath songs, and almost immediately they sounded like Black Sabbath. That was why I could continue playing. Everyone I knew was playing things that I didn't really know. They were just learning things that were easy, and not really something I had any passion about. You know, playing 1-2 buckle my shoe and all that sort of stuff. Hey man, you can watch my English humor forever, man. That's what made me subscribe. Yeah, Joe, but you're just thinking, I'm not English, I'm Scottish. All right, you can say British humor, it's not English humor. Not English humor. There's a thing, if you don't know about Scottish people, it's like when I was in China, or you're anywhere, it's like pure, oh, you're American. It's like pure, no, I'm Scottish. And it's like pure, all right, okay. And it's like pure English. No, I'm Scottish. It's different. English aren't very popular abroad. I think it's maybe part of it. I think there's actually a noticeable difference. If I went to France, just being Scottish, I think people would just be nicer to me because of inherent racism that happens. Because the English always hate the French, and the French hate the English, and we like us though. We like the French. Yeah, you know about the English, yeah, totally. English hate for cows. He sounds English. I don't fucking sound English, yeah. You're American, been in England for over 20 years, and I sound English? Really? Really? No. I do get that Americans don't notice the difference, but when I was in America, I never had any problem with anybody understanding what I said. I would just go up and, it was quite alarming, and then they would all be like, pure, she said, what? Doing all the American stuff, but I mean, they could understand what I was saying. Always, whereas if I go down to England and ask for, fags or which directions or something, they're just like, I don't understand your accent. Okay. Yeah. It's like, hey, Stevie Zero, stop being nasty. People don't know. Have you not seen Braveheart? Yeah, that's why. Okay, it's fictional, that film, but the sentiment's still right. Hey, Mark, from Detroit, Motown, Robocop Town. Yeah. Run Stupple your earthing until proven otherwise. I'll go for that as well. Yeah. I have a Yorkshire accent, and people in France thought I was American. It's nothing like an American accent. It's difficult, isn't it? There was a couple of people in America who tried to do their Scottish accent. No, was it an English accent they were trying to do? There was a guy, I didn't really like the guy. It was like, ooh, top of the morning to you, me China wire. You're like, yeah, man. It's like that's well, I can hear that there's a little bit of Cockney, and it's like, and you said we in it, therefore you're trying to be Scottish, and there's some Irish in it, but yeah, it makes a huge difference to us. Whereas I suppose technically an American accent, I could probably guess like a southern drawl, your sort of Texas type thing. That's about it. Check it, Peter Capaldi and wag the dog when someone calls him English. Sounds a bit right. I do like Peter Capaldi. He did Doctor Who's I'd like to meet. Oh, there's quite a few Doctor Who's I'd like to meet. They would probably go Sylvester McCoy, Colin Baker, and Thingman, and I suppose I'd have David Tennant. I just feel like David Tennant I would just get on with really easily. Like, all right, man, how's it going? And you'd be like, happy, right, cool. So you're Doctor Who then? Aye. because he does put on an accent. When you actually hear him talking, he sounds just the same as me. Americans confuse English accents with Australians. I totally get that, yeah. Gonna geese a pokey hat. Sorry, in the film In the Loop. We need more Robocops here. Yeah. Whatever happened that? Scotland 1968, was that a football game? Something like that. Is that when we beat the English after they won the World Cup or something stupid? I don't even know. Why is Britain the only country? They're not Great Guyana. No, that's a computer game. Because they were just the Great British Empire was pure all the globe. We are still embarrassed and shamed by the fact that it was part of we. You know, we were funding England back then as well. Yeah. Great, it's just sheer bigotry and superiorism, whatever you call it. I think it's just that. You know, we'll just go in and take over all the world and just like we'll say that we're civilizing your country, which basically just means we move in, take all your natural resources, and kill a lot of people or anyone who says anything against it. Kind of there you go, British Empire. Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins, yes. I won't hear anything against Dick Van Dyke. I like Dick Van Dyke. He's funny as fuck. I really loved that show he did with his son. Diagnosis Murder. Is that the one he was in? Which is basically Murder, She Wrote or Columbo, where I think Dick Van Dyke just had enough money to do whatever he wants. So he's like, I can do whatever I want. I quite fancy doing a Columbo type Quincy sort of thing. I'll be a doctor. That sounds like fun. I'll get my son Barry to be the other main character, and we will just basically I'll invite on people I like, and we'll have fun. And I used to watch that, and genuinely it was fun. And I think he had a fair whack in it. I really enjoyed that. It's Scott from Baltimore. Mine's Boston, Mass, and Irish sounding accent. Wow. We don't need Robocop. We have PC Murdoch. That would be quite a different Robo PC Murdoch would be something which I'm actually surprised that Chewing the Fat never thought of, because if they had, they would have done it. I can just picture PC Murdoch, but he's a robot with like pure chasing after kids for playing football when they're not meant to be playing football or whatever it is they're doing. Oh. Raised outside Boston, Massachusetts, and Brooklyn, New York, split cities kid. Right to play Trojans. The word great refers to the geographical mainland plus the Isles. It wasn't referring to how good we are. You think so? I'm pretty. Oh, I mean, great as in including all the islands, as in, yeah, we'll just take Ireland as well. We'll have that. Yeah, possibly. I don't know. And I suppose, it's a great, if it includes the islands, you start going, well, there was an awful lot of islands kicking about. I think there's still quite a few that still are British. That's where all the people in the government keep all their money. That's how they don't have to pay tax on anything, because there's special islands that are literally in the Caribbean, and it's like fucking half a dozen banks and enough houses for the people who work in the banks, and that's it. Basically, they've got their own laws, and it just means that if you make enough money, you can just keep all your money in there, and nobody looks at it, and you don't have to pay tax, and you can use that money to fund whatever you like. So you can think, oh, I see heroin's popular in Afghanistan. Maybe if I invested quite heavily in some of that, we can get money. Oh, people smuggling. Oh, there's quite a thing for people smuggling folk over the Mexican border. Right, I'll invest heavily in that. Hence why there was a vote to leave the EU, because the EU were bringing in a directive that meant that when it would still be fine to keep your money and not pay any tax on it and stuff like that, but you had to say what you were using it for. Oh, can't have that. That means you can't fund dodgy things. Yeah, no more politics. Back to Dundee Hurricanes. I love dogs and man, yeah, probably. My granddad was Irish, my mom was English. That's why I'm weird. So, it was like there was a lot of fighting in there. I don't know. Oh. Yeah, it was. I think it's not less. I don't know if it's still popular now. I don't know. They brought Mussolini's brain to England. It's possible. I don't know why they would do that. Unfortunately, heroin is probably popular everywhere. I don't know. I think it's mostly. I know there's an awful lot of problems with it. I don't know. It's just I lost one of my pals to it, so I'm never doing having anything to do with that ever. Especially his brain fit in a matchbox. I don't know. It's just so hard to have any sort of opinion on these things because I just don't know the facts. I was watching a documentary on, what was it that night? The Gulag system. That was quite interesting. Pretty horrible. I'm quite pleased we weren't there. And stuff like that. So it's just so many things and wee bits of, well, I ended up watching a film. It was obviously a really good film because I have no idea what it was called. It was on YouTube. I've started noticing films popping up on YouTube, like ones that obviously they must just be in a slight grey area about who owns the copyright currently. So they're just on YouTube. What film was it? I know a film, it wasn't on YouTube. CISO. Check that out. SISO. I really enjoyed it. It's totally like an 80s film. It's like a super low budget thing about this Finnish guy. Okay, so it's got subtitles, but I think there's maybe 7 lines of dialogue in the whole film. So it doesn't really matter whether it's not one of those films that you have to. The reason I don't like the subtitles films is it's difficult to like wire a guitar or fidget about while you're doing that because you have to look up to see what the subtitles are. Whereas if there's sod all talking in it, it's fine. You know. Not sure. I don't know how you would create. You start trying to turn a country to fascism. To be honest, I don't think it's that difficult. You just have to own all the media, and then just keep repeating the lie, and just make sure that anybody that you let into government says exactly what you want them to say. If you're one of the highest earners, that's kind of how it works. And then you just make mass lies. We're experiencing it right now. It's like, no, don't think about that. Like the SNP. Yeah. It's funny how fascism just becomes the whole. That's obviously the worst you can get is be fascist. It's like, yeah, which it totally is, but you just change that to being whatever it is. You just say that, you don't need to back it up, but anyway, you just trying to sort it to fascism. I don't know. It's such an unnatural state of being. I don't think anyone would be unless it's hammered into you a lot. The way to do it. Yeah, I don't think we're far away from it. But basically, you've got to take all the people who are doing badly, and instead of make sure that they don't know it's your fault that they're doing badly, and instead blame somebody else who's doing worse than them. Do that. My dad was from Cuba. Been there, lots of soldiers with AKs walking around menacingly. I saw a thing. It was the guy from Blur. That might not be Cuba. It might be Bolivia. The bass player from Blur, who looks a bit like that astrologer guy. Him, and he was talking about how he'd famously spent £1 million on cocaine 1 year or something like that in the 90s. He's now given it up. He's into cheese, and it was the Bolivian prime minister or whatever, or the Cuban prime minister going like that. But yeah, it's like just coke's a bad thing. Just that's if it wasn't for coke, this would be a lovely country because it's such big business that everything runs from it, and there's nothing they can do about it because it's such a big business and it all comes from there and all that. So. They could fit a present train and a thimble in a room left over. Enjoy the Godzilla films for their lack of diversity. I heard that the new Godzilla films might be really good. I've, to be honest, never seen a Godzilla film I enjoyed. I've seen it for a laugh sort of thing, but I've never really thought any of them were good. Not a fan, but maybe give it a go. Would make guitar and languages compulsory in school result no fascist? Yeah, I could do that. I don't know. Would you like to have that many guitarists who just were forced to play and didn't want to? I never did music at school. I could have. But I didn't have any interest in it. I wasn't interested in any time we were ever taught to play anything. I remember, occasionally, if you don't play the keyboard here, play this bass part. Like, well, with all of these Casio keyboards, and it was like, see, if they'd given me the lead part, I would have been able to play it. And I might have played the piano, but instead I was given the bass one. So, I was meant to kind of go dum 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 dum. That was my part, and it's like, fuck off! I'm not playing that. Whereas if they just given me the dun 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 dun, I would have fucking played that. But there you go. I should probably try and watch Godzilla. I think there's a lot of Japanese people in Godzilla, which is fair enough, I would say. I don't know where it comes in. Tai Chi in schools. And teach up picking up litter in schools. That would be a good thing. That's something I can't abide by either. Littering can just fuck off. See people who dump their fridge like at local scenery spots. Those people I think should be rounded up and taken to prison. I can't think of an excuse that's you feel, oh, here's a lovely little bit here. I can dump my washing machine there. Just don't do that. I think, to be honest, now it's basically I don't know if people actually take their own fridge and go and dump it. I think it's more, one of these hire a van guys, and if you take a van to the dump, you have to pay. Which maybe that shouldn't be the case. You should maybe not have to pay to recycle stuff. You should be able to take stuff to the dump free. So it doesn't just get dumped in the woods. But there we go. But I don't litter anymore. Even I don't even throw fagged outside the window anymore. I used to, finish the fag, ping it. It's like, actually, one of my pals got done for that in town. Was just a cigarette? He threw it out, kind of went down the drain, and the police was like, "You're just littering," and he got a £60 fine for it. So that is another reason for not doing it. But to be honest, it's not difficult just to crinkle the rest of the tobacco. I just stick it in my back pocket, and then next time I'm at the near a bin, put it in. Not worth it. Hey Ben, I don't want to be late. I've just finished my bucky. I'm gonna have to go and find cider. Because I've managed to finish that in an hour and 10 minutes. I was obviously wanted bucky more than I thought I did. Back 2 secs. So I ended up getting 2 different types of cider. I can either have classy in a bottle, Woods Gate, with a wee picture of a wooden gate on it. From Lidl, it was only one. It was the cheapest cider they had. Or I've got Sotma mixed fruit premium cider, 4%. I think I might have the Sotma. And if it goes down off a well, I'll maybe have that cider as well. So is this app still working? Yes. Trash cans in the street full and overflowing. I know. But just remember, it's like the politicians, I bet you they don't blame themselves for that. I bet you they blame immigrants or something for that being a problem. It's like, no. Oh, it doesn't matter that I made £1 million this year. It's like, no. That's just completely by times. I didn't get a bung from the council to do that. Glasgow Council charged £40 to pick up an old fringe, hence to get dumped in the woods. Yeah. my thing for the sensibleness of that would be it should be free, really, shouldn't it? Throwing cigarettes at a car window in an Australian summer. I can imagine that. Like your wildfires, yeah, totally. That's just what it comes down to. Who cares? It's like, do the people? That means that you've got to be relatively worried that it's like, you're set. I've just burnt down. I don't think a lot of the arseholes who would even think about that. It's like, yeah, don't throw that fag out the window. You might cause a fire and cause like that village to burn down. It's like, I'm sure people don't give a shit. And you're just like, all right, makes perfect sense to me. I wouldn't be pinging no fags out the window. Both throwing things out the window here is illegal and finable. Same thing. Fires. It should be. To be honest, that's not really a problem here in Scotland. It's very, very rarely anything like dry enough to start a fire. It's hard enough starting a fire with firelighters. Never mind that. But yeah. Credit card trash bins. Right, I mean, you have to put money in. Two more likes and there'll be no more. 25 people, 23 likes. Ads coming up, 45 seconds. 2 more likes. Spike the likes, and there will be no ads for everybody. You're doing a thing of justice, even though it's quite good. The more likes I get, obviously the better I do. My card was denied, hauling maggot-infested trash to the dump in a hatchback. Sounds lovely. I don't know if we've got any. Only one more like. You get 26 seconds to do it, or you're all getting adverts. Do you know? It's like you're like talking about the community-minded thing. It's that whole thing about why not? I'll just let her anyway. 12 seconds still. You'll go. Now somebody left. That's not how it went to work. So somebody left rather than spike the likes, bastards. Whoever you are, but they're gone, so they don't know that. Yeah, wildfires are just like whole top of a mountain. I can't imagine. I think that was it. We were told that they're not wildfires somewhere near Pennsylvania. Because I was the whole time I was in Pennsylvania, Jen was like, I was happy. Yeah, the lights here is funny. It's a sort of orangey yellow light, not white light that we get. It's quite different. And she's like, you're just stoned. Like, I'm fucking not stoned. Like, no, it fucking is different. And then the girl we were staying with, like, yeah, the light's dead funny just now because of the wildfires up north. It's like, yeah. So it was funny looking light, a sort of yellowy orangey light rather than the whitey light we get from that. Guitar ads are probably the best ads. At least you're getting adverts that are sort of there. I did one time. I did see ads on my show. This was on my show on my channel a few years ago, and it was just when I started doing ads, and it was they put an advert for Bill and Ted's new film up, whatever it was. It kind of disappeared, but I mean, I don't even know what the third Bill and Ted film is called. But it was an advert for that on my channel, and I thought, yeah, cool. That's exactly the sort of advert I want. The people who kind of like that are kind of everyone here is going to like Bill and Ted, I would imagine. I thought that was great. But I think, to be honest, that's me. That's probably an advert geared at me rather than an advert geared at the channel. Oh. Wildfires are good for the planet. Soup particles help cool the planet. I'm not sure about that. I think there might be natural ones, maybe. I don't know. But then again, I suppose what's the difference whether the fire gets started off with a volcano or it gets started off with some idiot with a barbecue? I suppose. I don't know. Do they know it's Christmas? Yes, Canada was having wildfires from there, affected the whole northeast. Yeah. It's called shite. What's called shite? Oh. Yeah, no, I can imagine been pretty terrified with wildfires. Don't be starting wildfires. But also don't chuck fags at the window. Wildfires are a necessity. Yeah, totally. Yeah, but I think if you maybe just the ones that naturally come up. I don't know how it works. Equally, I don't think it's very fair if people get their houses burnt down and stuff. So something in the middle. Bill and Ted 3. It's actually, I've only watched it once, but actually it was pretty good. I quite liked it. It's maybe Bill and Ted 2 is obviously the good one. One's got some good bits in it, and three's got some good bits in it. Some really fun. There's a brilliant bit where they go to the gym. No, they go to a prison or something. There's different alternate timelines, and one of them, the two Bill and Ted, have both been in prison for 20 years, so they're pure muscle men covered in tattoos. That's pretty fucking funny. I'll give them that. There's too many wildfires attacked by maniacs. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people do it intentionally or just stupidly. I do remember one time a wee guy used to know there's a place called the Moss, which is a sort of peat bog in Lenzie, like it's a square mile just up the road. Everyone used to go up there, and when they were bunking off school or wanting to smoke, you go up there. Used to get a fire up there sometimes on a Friday night. I remember one time my pal stationed a box of matches and he was just flinging them, he was like lighting it and just flinging it into the bushes, and it was just starting fires wherever he went. He was obviously doing it was funny because a couple of us were like, fucking stop doing that, you're putting them out. Just like, maybe fucking out, just like, can't you just fucking set fire to this place? There you go. Hawaii, very odd to say the least. What's odd about Hawaii? I don't know anything about Hawaii. I could probably find it on a map if you gave me it. It's quite far out in the middle of nowhere. That's where the guitar came from, isn't it? The Hawaiian guitar. I think, no, it was a Spanish guitar. Was it? I don't know, whatever. So how I suppose the Spanish probably took guitars over there. Hey, Tom! I'm doing pretty good. I've finished my bucket because I only had half a bottle. So I've gone on to half a bottle and a can of cider. I've got to stay on till at least 10. I think I'm going to try and compress it a little bit rather than... I keep getting dead tired. I was fucking... That was last night. It was meant to be going to a jam. So I did my video, got a jam, and basically I fell asleep. I woke up at 7 o'clock and it was like, I can't be bothered going out. So I'm just getting old. But 2 more amps. Go tell us what about your amps then. Frank, I don't think anyone else has bought anything. Nobody else bought anything. No, someone bought a 335. Pro tip: blue paint. Blame the immigrants for the fires. Yeah. Yes, it's always there. People who come across in small boats, isn't it? That's the main dream of 400 a year or whatever. Like, that's the whole problem. Yeah. Pretty clever. So what's funny about Hawaii? I don't know anything about it. Is Hawaii a state? It is, isn't it? Is it an American state? I don't even know. I'm sure there's a is it Jeopardy question or something like that being there. The 1977 Yamaha has a loco in Japan in 81. The loco was covered in weird but cool brown felt stuff. Would that be Jobby Brown? That would maybe go well with a guitar like this. Yeah, Mr. Whitesnake. Totally agree. Blame everybody for everything. Definitely not my fault. Definitely not my fault that there's sod all Japanese guitars in Scotland, because I've got them all. Yeah, totally. It's like nobody jumps on them. You know, I don't necessarily just jump on them anyway. My pal had a speaker cabinet. I wonder what happened to that speaker cabinet. I must have thrown it away. I think I've still got the speakers. That he was going to cover it in AstroTurf. But it turned out it cost £80 to cover it in AstroTurf, so he just covered it in some shite that he found in his mum's cupboard. Was it like leopard skin or something like that? Blame it on the big. In Australia, they stopped the Aborigines from controlled burning of the land as they'd done for thousands of years. Next thing you know, I've never heard of uncrottled, but wood fires is actually Scottish for wood is wood, but wildfires everywhere. I don't know what uncontrolled I assume, but I like uncrottled as a word, which I might use again. Yeah, I know it's like One of those things. I suppose the same thing with the flooding, people building on floodplains, and then people get flooded, and then they have to redivert floodplains and all this stuff. I thought as you're near New York City, there were lots of jazz guitars playing there, 70s, 80s, hence the proliferation of small Yamaha amps, especially the solid states sold as a jazz amp. Possibly, I think it's just when you go back to it, it was the reason there's a lot of amps, kind of like maybe not this one. This was kind of at the end of the era, but there used to be a lot of like of British companies made like gigging material PA speakers and stuff like that. Because I think to import like a guitar weighs quite a lot, and it's like, you know, I don't know, £1,000, say, whatever the equivalent is money wise. So it's kind of worth importing a guitar, but an amp, especially like a big speaker column, you know, if you've got like two 15-inch speakers in a column, you can basically make that for a couple of £100, sell it for 300. Whereas if you got that from America or something, it would cost you twice as much because you'd have to carry the thing. So we got an awful lot of amps here, and it's like things like Marshalls, which are all still going, and the Fenders were very, very much more expensive than your H&H and your McGregor, and there's lots of companies that, you know, you can actually get small industrial sites in the Midlands and stuff were churning out PA gear and amps and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that kicking about. Not so much now because I don't think a lot of it's survived. But in the last sort of 10, 15 years I've been looking at guitars, I've seen a lot of that sort of old-fashioned, proper gigging musicians pub. Not nothing fancy, just does the job. But less so much of not so much Yamahas and stuff, although you do occasionally see them. I think the problem is a lot of people have these things, and it's a good amp. You know, so someone's got, I'm sure there's people who have these Carltons, and they're looking at it and they're going, that's a really good solid wee amp. I don't really need it, but if I sold it, I'd get 50 quid for it. So I'll just keep it in case one day I need it. I think that's happened a lot. I think that's now starting to happen with some of the Japanese guitars, where people are just keeping them because they're not worth as much to sell as they are as a guitar. And you know, the people who are in the know, you know, it's like someone who has. So I've got my Ibanez Roadster and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, I've got the Fenders and the Gibsons, you know, the ones that are worth thousands of pounds, and it's like Ibanez Roadster's just as good. We know it is. And I'm going to get 150 quid for it. No, I'm no selling it for 150 quid. Which makes sense. Not just how Kellogg, if the chickens work out how to build tanks, we have a problem on our hands. Oh. Speaking of tanks, I found out something interesting when I was watching that World War I documentary. The reason they're called tanks. I don't know why they're called tanks. Yamaha's are great clean amps, put a pedal in front of them, they sound like an overdriven tube amp. Yeah, I can imagine, Tom, it's a similar sort of thing to this. The Carlton, it's like a sort of an all solid state amp. Got a new 40-foot container, great reverb. Yeah. So it's an expensive real estate buyer container to get reverb. I mean, basically you're talking about how, you know, the original reverb rooms was like in the one the Beatles used, it was literally like downstairs. There was like a room and they just tiled it, put like a speaker at one side and a mic at the other. There's your reverb. Just how they did it. I just had it on the desk as a dial, you know what I mean? A common lichen found in rocks used in Scotland to make golden brown or reddish brown dye for steering wheel for making tweed. Found this online. Space Monkey, I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, could be. Crottle. All right, there you go. Crottle. There you go. Senstar guitars. Never heard of them. Toolboxes. Did you see the chickens with toolboxes? I had to cut loads of holes that ruined it. Yeah, but I so nobody seems nobody guessed why they're called tanks. It's because they were a secret. So they were described as tanks, as in water tanks, as in they were basically so that the Germans didn't know that they were actually like machines of death. They would just say that it's like a water bowser. So they were just called water tanks because that's what they were pretending they were. So up here, that thing there, that's our water. That's our tank with water for the supplying people with water. Yeah. So there you go. Apparently, which makes sense. There's not really. It's not one of those things you never really think about. I think chickens are they're not really particularly intelligent. I think they've been bred to be a bit thick. Have chickens, so I don't know if I wouldn't. I'm not worried about the chickens. We're worried about the rats. I should have outside and just out the street round the corner from me. They've put out a new like electricity junction boxy thing, and there's a thing next to it which I think it's like a neon yellow thing, which looks. I think it might be a rat catcher, and it's like I can't think of anything else it would be. Oh, not yet. Only fairies wear boots to tell you no lies. Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them with my own two eyes. That was originally designed as a dig against skinheads who used to go to Black Sabbath gigs, and they were always arseholes. So it was like they always wore Doc Marten boots, hence fairies wear boots. It was like meant to be a slagging for the skinheads. Apparently. Fender Ratlecaster, it's gonna happen at some point. I was actually sitting. Where's it gone? I'm thinking over at Jen's house. I'm sitting playing through the wee Bandtamp, which is fantastic, through an old WEM speaker cabinet. It just doesn't have very much drive in it, so I was thinking of taking my wee Mosky black rat pedal over and getting Jen to paint it. But speaking of rats, but I mean a Rattlecaster could maybe fit this inside a guitar. It would be pretty cool. I was just thinking I like the rat, and that's 99% as good as my real rat, but I've got a real rat, so I might as well use it for the tone. Doesn't make any difference whether I'm using this one or not. 12 quid that was. Delivered. Could never find another one, otherwise I'd have bought one. I quite fancy putting it into a bigger enclosure, just so Jen's got something to paint rather than just being a wee tiny thing. I was looking at this actually. It's like an old Marshall foot switch. You'd never know because it's quite dirty. But I'm thinking if I put the rat in here and then something else in here, maybe what would go with a rat? Maybe a smaller, like a boost or a sort of milder distortion might be quite nice, or maybe a tuner. Rob Halford can't stay on my axe. I don't know what that means. But he had Priest's last couple of songs, pretty good. Still doing it. Rob Halford's a funny guy. I still haven't actually taken a photo of that. I need to take a photo of that and send it to him. I'm sure he'll put it in his page because it's a fucking awesome picture. I had the Tori Iommi one as well, because it's amazing how well nailed the faces are on them. There might be a few of them. Jen's the latest JPACs Jen's just doing is an SG, and it's got Nosferatu on it. And she's good at drawing Nosferatu, so it's kind of like Nosferatu's face here. It's like pretty cool. That means he's a lumberjack in Canada. Monty Python reference? I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. It is weirdly warm tonight, Stratocaster. Thanks for saying it. I was thinking that myself as well. I've not had the heating on all day, and for some reason it's all right. So I don't know what's going on. Has been really cold though. A couple of weeks ago. Just settled down and just accepted it's weirdly warm. My computer normally tells me. I don't know how accurate it is. It always seems to say it's near record, the temperature. Like in the wee power bar thing at the bottom of the screen, it says, it's like 6 degrees near record. And it's like, I don't know whether 6 degrees is near record cold for us today or 6 degrees near record cold hot. You scrubbed Rob Halford's autograph off your guitar for the tone? I don't believe it for a second. If I met Rob Halford, I'd get him to the Manopause. No, it is surprisingly not that cold just now. I think there's enough. I keep thinking there's an awful lot to do with wind. It's like temperature. It can be. I was out in the snow. It was like a couple of weeks ago, I put on like all my 2 pairs of tracky trousers and jeans, and then like 3 jumpers on, and I was sweating by the time I got to the top of the street because it wasn't cold, even though it was -2. It was -2 and it wasn't windy. Whereas I think that -2 when it's not windy and the sun's kind of out is warm, even though it is -2. Whereas it can be 5 degrees and windy and it's fucking freezing. Let's hear Billy Connolly say J-Packs. Well, I don't know, is it J-Packs or J-Packs? Because we've got I've had this discussion before with people. When we're taught the alphabet here in Scotland, IJKLMNOP. So it's like it's J, not J. IJKLMNOP. IJ. We say J. So it could be J-Packs, but it's not. It's J-Packs. I don't know. Oh. Sean Connery, J-Packs. Yeah, you get it. Satellite 65T, is it worth buying? I'm not sure what a Satellite 65T is. Satellite, just a Korean cheapo company. So it's one of those ones that, if it's cheap, I suppose, yeah, they're all right. They're quite famous. They did a lot of Les Pauls. They also did a through neck Strat at one point, which look good, but they're not, there's guitars that kind of look like that, but they're not like that. They're not world beating, any Satellite I've seen so far. There might be an odd one that's quite good though. The Laz with them, they were Cast. What was the song? They did one big hit song. Keep the Dust on for Tone. Yeah. Dust is homosexual, Dirt. Right. Okay. Hope it's not a homosexual Dust I get. I don't know. Just smoking in here. And a Satellite Les Paul Plank. Yeah. I've had some bad ones. Below 0 Celsius, each mile per hour adds another -1 to the temp you feel. Boring fact of the day. Okay. Aye, because I've heard that. I used to get that sometimes where it's like it's 5 degrees but feels like 1. So that'd be a 4 mile an hour breeze. It makes sense. Yeah, totally. Also, that's when you always get sunburnt the worst out in a boat, basically, because you're zipping across the waves and through the cool air like that. This is great. Oh, I'm not getting sunburnt at all. And then you get sunburnt to absolute death because the sun's still beating on you the same way. It's just because you get cold air flowing over you. It doesn't feel hot. Also, I think there's something to do with some of the sun gets reflected off the water and bounced up. So it's actually more than just having sun. But I mean, yeah, I've had some horrendous sunburn out in the boat. Even though it didn't feel hot. You know what I mean? You're doing 30 mile an hour like that, pure. Which is great. Tap off and all that. And then it's just blister city. The worst sunburn I ever had, I was out in the boat and I was wearing I'd got like basically what you'd call a wetsuit vest kind of thing I was wearing because we're running out the water. I was like, I had a wetsuit vest and it was like, for bare arms, and my God, did I get a big pus sacks all over my back and like having obviously my shoulder blades were kind of open, sort of round about there. So I had really, really bad sunburn, the worst I've ever had by far. But because I was wearing this stupid vest thing, see, the center of my back was fine, which meant I could sleep. So what I did was I just put 2 pillows on my bed and slept on top of the 2 pillows. So my arms the bits with the sunburn weren't touching anything, and I actually got decent sleep. Obviously, but if I ever rolled over, it was pure, wake up, oh, cha. But I could actually sleep on my back, which was great. It was the 3 degrees, not the 5 degrees. The black one said Prince Charles had a long knob. Yes. Didn't know you go surfing. No, there's quite a lot of folk surfing in Scotland. I don't. You have to be. There's good surfing bits up at be water skiing I've been doing, or just basically it sounds a bit ridiculous, but just stopping somewhere and jumping off rocks from great heights and just basically pissing about in the water. Got fried out in a boat in cloudy days. Where's my pig? I've not done it yet, Pontiac. I will do it. The thing is, what's happened is J-Packs is started talking about doing t-shirts. So the plan is that when she goes to get t-shirts done, I'm going to go as well and go, oh, while you're doing all that organising thing, there'll be a Mad Malco option as well, please. I'm just shite at doing these things. You'll get one, Pontiac. You'll get one. These ones are so fucking worn out. It's unbelievable. Can't believe I'm still wearing them, but because there only are. How many did I buy? I bought 10. and that included a black one, a grey one, and a white one. So somebody's got the black one, somebody's got the grey one, and somebody's got the white one. And I've got the other 7. The Lads are they had one big hit that we all know, the Lads, and they became cast, or some of them did anyway. But I don't know. I do know that I have been told that their album was meant to be pure amazing. I've never heard it. It might have a bad cover, or maybe it wasn't popular enough for me to ever see it for a couple of quid. There's another set ads, but I've seen they've got 26 people and 26 likes. I'm just going to skip them. Yeah. Our Christmas song is coming out soon. We're hoping it'll be Christmas #1. Sorry, Dorothy, I think you're too late. Christmas songs are already done. The Lads is a perfect LP. I have heard this, Pontiac. I've never heard the album, though. Obviously, it's mad when you think about it. See, if I'd been 10 years younger, I would have completely different musical tastes, I think, because I would have the option to look shit up on YouTube to see whether it was good or not, whereas I didn't. Wet t-shirts sell better. I like it. Insects at Christmas. Was you not up north somewhere, maybe? Even the Lads hated the album. Possibly, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought the album was meant to be really good. I don't know. I mean, they didn't. I think the only surprise they've got one song. It's got a really good guitar riff to it. It's right on the tip of my brain, thinking which song it is. I keep trying to play that fucking. It's not entirely super unlike the Friends tune. It's not fully unlike that. It's got like a riff kind of in that vein. But I can't remember what the song is. Is it There She Goes? There she goes. There she goes again. Is that the last song? The last song. They tried everything to stop it being released. Does they hate it that much? No. Don't know. It is There She Goes, though, isn't it? Maybe. There she go. There we go. Yes. See, I'm not completely stupid. That is all right. I quite liked their follow-up Cast as well. One of the years where I used to listen to there used to be a thing called Virgin Radio, which was on AM back then. It was in So Imagine Axe Murderer. Well, there you go. So Imagine Axe Murderer. I remember, but in fact, I don't think I've ever actually watched the DVD. I think it's still shrink wrapped, but that's a fucking great film. I really enjoyed that. That was sort of after Wayne's World and before Austin Powers, I think. And there, and Mike Myers kind of got enough money to do what he wanted, and it's excellent. Mayers makes 20 grand a year from the There She Goes. Hey Heed, yeah, exactly. It's like an orange and a cocktail stick. Yeah, totally. It's so big, it's got its own planetary weather system. Yeah, that the Heed. I'd say that bits like that. When he played his dad, it's funny. It's funny as fuck. I think his dad's Scottish. That's how he can do a sort of Scottish accent that's not kind of but it's not like a total Scottish accent, but it's quite good. There's enough of it because he plays his dad in the film. But I mean, my 20 guard years from There She Goes. Nice. Well, that's it, isn't it? It's just, I mean, I know Jesse Ray managed to fund most of his stuff from the song Inside Out, which to be honest, I'd never heard. I wanna be inside out was a big hit by a band called Odyssey. It's a great song, but that's where he got enough money to actually. I mean, back when you got a lot of money for these things, I was kind of hoping see something like he's trying himself to sleep on his massive pillow. He says, but yes, there's massive pillow. The Heat. But I think I know that Jesse went on tour with Adam Ant. And the reason Adam Ant could afford to go on tour was because Stand and Deliver, whatever song it was used in Shrek or Shrek 2. And that was like more money than he'd ever got from all of his music put together, was just the fact that it was in a Hollywood film. So it's just a case of trying to get in a Hollywood film. I always thought it'd be funny if Jesse Ray could somehow got on Family Guy and they would just obviously chop it up and take the piss out of him. But I mean, if you got Over the Sea or something on Family Guy, he would be back basically. He would have enough money to do, and he would do an album and a tour and stuff if he had the money. I think. Space 1999, Arthur C. Clarke. I don't know if Arthur C. Clarke had anything to do with it. But Space 99, it's got boom, 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 boom. It's got great music. I used to always freak me out a little bit that it's funny how the things you remember about this is all the people had normal names. So it was like, it's like Gunnery Sergeant, John McMillan. So they would just go, John, target the blah, blah, blah. It'd be like, like John and Dave and Steve and all that. And everyone just had normal names, which doesn't work. If you go to Blake 7, it's like Gan and Dana and all these sort of quite cool, and Blake and Avon, quite cool names, but not normal names. There wasn't John and Steve and all that. The Proclaimers made a mint from Shrek. Are they in it? Yes, I'd imagine they probably did. I know they did. The Monkeys. I like the version that was in Shrek 1. It's like, I thought love was only true in fairy tales. Jibba jibba jib. Hey! That's not in the original song. Hey! But it's like, that's a good addition. Every song should have some haze in it. Sorry, lads, the best Scottish accent goes to Sean Connery. I think so. He's got one of those made up ones. It's like kind of like, I suppose, which is kind of what I've got as well. It's a mid-Atlantic accent where you're trying to speak clearly because you're talking to a lot of people that aren't speaking Scottish. So therefore you have to over-enunciate certain words, and therefore it sounds a little bit impure, because I'm trying to speak in such a way that you understand me, from the people from America and England and stuff like that. Because I think most of them, I'm currently about 55% of you lot, people who watch my videos, are American. Something like that. Or there's a higher percent, it's about 5% more than people from the UK, Americans that watch this, which is quite bizarre. Those monkeys hitting each other with bones was Arthur C. Clarke, yeah. Do you know they actually got they got nominated for an Oscar for the best trained animals for that scene, and it was like they had to kind of sneakily go, look, we realise you've already put it out, and it's like blah blah blah, but you can't let us win it. Oh, why not? And it's like, because it's not animals, it's people dressed as monkeys. But it was up for the award thing, but they kind of had to kind of go, look, don't tell anyone, but don't let us win that one. Benny and June. I've not seen Benny and June. I like Billy Connolly's accent best. He's got a funny one. Gandhi has the best Scottish accent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what the best. Who's to get the best Scottish accent? It's me, obviously. I don't know. I don't know. What is the best Scottish accent? Maybe it's just because it's not exotic here, so we don't hear it. I do occasionally hear someone with I don't know. There's some female accents that are pretty hot. A Geordie girl can be pretty. A Northern Ireland girl can be pretty sexy. I don't really notice accents being cool. I got told that a lot when we were in America. Up here, I love your accent. Okay. I probably get more comments along the lines of, I love your accent, than I do get, I don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about, shut up. Maybe about 2 to 1 sort of thing. People saying, oh, I love your accent, to fucking talk properly. Yeah. Billy Bragg video with him playing a song called Richard. Guitar's brilliant. He's used as fuck. I don't know. Accents are like music. Boston is like nails on a blackboard. The band Boston. Really? I think Boston are pretty good. book he's seen in 2011, which he's read the book. I've never read the book, which is based on a 50s short story he wrote called The Sentinel. Second boring fact today. These are not boring facts. These are interesting stuff. I didn't know. I do think it's pretty mental though. And it's pure spooky as fuck when he found one in the moon. I was like, 2001 pure blew my mind the first time I saw it, and I do occasionally watch it. I've not seen it for many years, but I mean, I liked it even when I was a kid. It's like kind of with the classical music in it. It's good. The Boston accent grew up near Tom Schultz. Played basketball with him at the park. Well, there you go. I really don't know the Boston accent. I think the problem is if you go anywhere, you get people who don't enunciate properly and you can't understand what they're saying regardless of the accent. You know, when you get too deep into it, when you look at, you know, even if I'm thinking of you like a Manchester or a Liverpool or Glasgow or anything or Birmingham, anywhere with a strong accent, when you get right into the people who never leave anywhere and are just, you know, it's like they just don't enunciate. You get it in Glasgow a lot as well. Just people can't really, they're not actually saying the words properly. They're missing out huge chunks and just going, and it's like, well, okay, fair enough. I'm not understanding your accent, but you're not actually saying a lot of the words. Yeah, that over there and that over there too there. And it's like, yeah, but you're not actually saying, yes, I mean that over there, there, through there. And it's like, kind of doesn't make sense. The car in Clockwork Orange was built by George Roper. Yeah, these are all interesting things. The music that got me in Clockwork Orange, to be honest, that's where I looked at the switched on back with the Moog versions of the horse there, Beethoven's Ninth with the yeah, amazing. Glaswegian street level direct it is, but that's just the whole, just not being classy enough to actually speak properly. You can have quite a strong accent, but it's just when it comes down to that, can't even be bothered trying to be heard, you get lost. But anyone can do that. It doesn't matter where you're from. There are people who have that accent where they're not willing to spend the extra 5% effort and actually pronounce the words. They just go, how fucking yeah. Blah, blah. The big black obelisk in 2001 is built at the ratio 1:35. That's pretty boring. That's correct. Are you a reader, boy? Which one was Mickey DeLenz? I don't know. Hey, Boss Hog, how's it going? 1, 3, and 5 are the first three prime numbers. You get the gist, yeah. And but it's right down to a fraction of a millimeter. It's exactly that. So it's definitely there. Buenos dias. What about the Scottish guy from Groundskeeper Willie? I see. He's got that American Scottish accent where it's a Scottish accent, but they can't remember where they came from. So it's just an average from Scottish accent, where there is a huge difference between Glasgow and Stirling, which is, I can practically see it 25 minutes away. An entirely different accent. In Edinburgh, 45 minutes away, an entirely different accent, whereas Groundskeeper Willie has elements of all of it, but is definitely not from Scotland. Maybe his relatives are and he's trying to fight, you know, it's one of those, it's a kind of bizarre thing. I read the phone book. I do remember there was a phone book, yes. What have the monkeys, the black crows, and Def Leppard have in common? They can spell common. Monkeys, black crows, and Def Leppard. They all sold out. I don't know. I've not got an accent. You've got an accent, Alexander. Don't worry about it. Found myself unwashed, somewhat slighted days yesterday morning, gazing at the window of Jim Egypt, being very glad it wasn't payday yet. Yeah, so you're from here. Yeah, Jimmy Egypt's guitar shop is quite nice, isn't it? I love the way that it's not set out, maybe not in a very business-like way. The last time I was in, maybe about a year ago, it's not like Guitar where you've got the cheaper Squires, the classic vibe Squires, the Mexican ones, the American ones, and then the custom. It's not like the closer to the floor, so they're all kind of mixed up. So you're kind of looking through it and you go, "Oh, I quite like that guitar." And instead of these other ones, you go, like, obviously all the ones you like are at the top, so they're $5,000, and all the ones that look cheaper at the bottom because they're 150 quid. But in there, they're kind of mixed up a little bit more. And it's like someone's gone, there's too many fenders in that corner. I'll take that fender out there and I'll put like a Les Paul in there, so it's a bit more arty. I do prefer that shop just to look at. Also, all animals spelt wrong. Yeah. Someone discovers a prime number of 100 million digit. The prize is 150,000 for electronics frontiers. The first 1 billion digit prime was worth 250,000. Wow. Oh. Ah. All animals spelt wrong. I forgot even what it was. Look at the monkeys. All right, I never even noticed they were. What was it? The monkeys, the Def Leppard, and the Black Crows. Okay. Yeah. I didn't really thought that. They are all animals spelt wrong. There you go. And the Beatles, yeah, totally. Did you hear Mark Knopfler and Chris Rea getting together to do a wee tour next year? Of course, I know it. The old Ria Diaz. Yeah, totally. Got it. Metal Mickey Dolenz. Mm-hmm. The Darwins as well. I saw it. There was a meme actually the other day. It was just like there was a picture of a leopard going, "What?" And it was like Def Leppard, but spelled DEAF and then spelled leopard correctly as well. Where Def Leppard got their name, I don't know. Is it that whole idea? Why is it Led Zeppelin? Is that maybe did they do it first? And then obviously Slade had a lot of "Cause I Love You" with COZ and all that. Tigers of Pantang. Yeah, what is it? I'm trying to right now. Go for it. I like it, Stevie Zero. So we've got the Beatles, the Tigers of Pantang, the Black Crows, Def Leppard, and the Monkeys all spelt wrong. So is the Monkeys spelt wrong? Is it just MONKYS? Never really thought about it. So I bet you there's other ones. The ones that are intentionally spelt wrong are ones where people just can't work it out. Actually. That's the adverts you're getting, Mr. Whitesnake. Game changing with this guitar hack. Slade were pure. If I order a t-shirt, can I get a JPAX tee as well? Yeah. Sure you can, Pontiac. Once I've done it, you can shave and shipping, yeah. Because it's like I did try and do the proper what do you call it? Like, is it Zazzle or something like that? The other people use t-shirts, but the t-shirts were crap. I got them through. I couldn't really work out how to set it up properly. I would rather I don't think I'll be selling that many. I would rather just do it myself. And okay, you maybe have to pay an extra $5, but that means I actually get some money from it, as opposed to doing one of these Zazzle things. It was like I'm having to sell t-shirts for $30, which I'm not that comfortable with, and I got $2 for each one. And you're like, well, fuck that. I don't mind if I'm having to sell them for 20, but I'm getting 10 or 12. That's more like it. I don't mind that. You know what I mean? What's the JTAX tee going to be like? I've actually got one original JPAX t-shirt. Which will be worth too much money. I can't actually wear it. I think hold on 2 seconds. Not in there. So I won't be like this, because this is actually hand painted, but there. This is me shaped because it was basically I was wearing it when it got painted. That was we tried to paint a t-shirt. We had t-shirts when we were in America, and the paint didn't work properly. And she was kind of doing her own. I was like, up here, yeah, okay. I'll wear the other t-shirts so you can paint them. So I don't know. Probably a bit more JPaxy than that. But this will be worth tons of money. Especially seeing as it's just the paint's kind of crunchy. I've not actually managed to wear it yet. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know if it's like if I washed it. These are meant to be proper t-shirt paints. I just wonder if there's any way of making it so it's not crunchy. It's also it's a kind of funny shape as well. I don't even know if I can. I've even tried it on since I kind of made. Yeah, kind of see it because it's been kind of painted like this. It's sort of it doesn't have a great shape, so something not quite like that. But that'll be cool. I'm sure of it. Oh, the bird's well done. Yes. Well done, Dorothy. That was the obvious one I was totally missing. The birds like it. Yeah, but I mean, it might just be that printed on a t-shirt. What Jen wants is some way of printing it so it doesn't have a square around it. She doesn't want just like a square bit printed, so it's got to sort of end before it gets to the edge of the printing bit, if that makes sense. But we will do it. Maybe even get a. T-shirt needs a nitro finish. I don't know. It'll end up just being a suit of armor. The problem is it's kind of shaped like me, which isn't really what you want. Look, Pontiac Dorothy was the only one that managed to come up with another band with the name spelt wrong. It's an animal with the name spelt wrong, but the bird's been a very famous one. Wild Stallions, okay, yes. Not a real band, but I get it. Yeah, totally. In fact, the Spinal Tap not count as well. No, they're just because Spinal's got like the umlauts on it. That's just a generally misspelled band rather than being. Look, Wild Stallions, I think, does count. And that kind of comes into why one of the reasons I don't like Gene Simmons was watching that Rock School project, but he was talking about doing when he wrote, him and Paul Stanley wrote God Gave Rock and Roll to You. And it's like, I have to differ that the best version of that is by Argent, who wrote the song. They changed some of the words, so that counted as writing the song for that. I always liked God Gave Rock and Roll to You until I got the Argent album, and then it's like twice as good, easily, like most bands. The Hawks. I don't know. The Hawks. Gorillas, good one, Stevie. Yes, Gorillas, spelt wrong also. Yeah, God Gave Rock and Roll to You. The full version is just amazing. Don't step on bugs, don't climb in trees. Love Cliff Richard, but please don't tease, because it's never too late to work 9 to 5. No, the Argent, that album's fucking great. It's not their big hit. Their big hit's a weird one. I don't know. It's not their best song. The big hit is it Hold Your Heads Up, something like that. And it's like, I think it's one of those ones that was released by chance at the exact time when there was nothing else in the charts, sort of thing. I'm just going to skip the ads. I'm not going to get money for them anyway. The bad was the Hawks. How was Buddy Holly and the Crickets? Were they just spelt as crickets? I don't know. God gave sausage rolls to you. Classic. Like It's Space Monkey, that's exactly what we want. That's like a bit like the Stone Roses song I remember being out, and it was great. Cheese spreads around just like Dairy Lee. Yep. Cliff Pilchard, yeah. That's it. It's interesting. I wonder about the misspelling of birds' names. There must be more. I must know some from. There must be some prog. I wonder how Kentucky Buzzard was spelt. Never bought a Kentucky Buzzard album, but I like the name. Turkey Buzzard. Turkey Buzzard. I mean, to be honest, I've not tried to play God Gave Rock and Roll to You for 10 years. I wonder if I could actually play it. Dun, dun, dun. I bet he's not done it. Give rock and roll. Give rock and I need to work that out. Yeah, Tony Pia, that's cool. I don't know you, but if you could sub, that'd be great because I'm not quite at 8,000. But you're right, we did have Def Leppard. Yes, so far we've had the original ones were the Monkeys, the 2 E's, the Black Crows, and Def Leppard. And then since then we've had basically the Birds was the best one, and Fish isn't bad. I don't really know the thing about Fish, that would never have come out of Scotland because obviously I look at that and I see Pish, so you would never call a band Fish with an H in Scotland because it would be too much. The devil gave us Justin Bieber. Yeah, I don't know enough about that. We did, and the Beatles were mentioned, yes. The clever name. But the thing about the Beatles has got a bit of a clever one because they were a beat group. Whereas all the other ones, let's spell our band name funny. My favourite one was the Cricket's got the name from the Crickets picked up with recording the garages on tape. There you go. Fantastic. We've had the Black Crows. Yeah, because there's no E in Black Crows, but yeah. Just made to look cool. But see, that's where it comes in. The Beatles were actually being clever with it, whereas the Birds were just spelt with a Y because maybe so you can copyright it. Would it be that sinister? Like if you just put Def Leppard in, as in DEAFLE, spell both the things correctly. Does that mean that your name's in the public domain? Because obviously you can't. No, you don't have to Tony Pie. You've got it, but you've already said two of them. That's better than anyone. Well, the Birds was the best one that was to come since then, but there must be other ones. My favourite one was Living Colour, who I think are actually on tour just now. I don't really know them that well, but they had this great idea of spelling colour COLOUR because it was like colour, so it was like our colour, and it was all clever and all that. And then they came to Britain, and everyone was just like, "What?" It's like you've just spelt colour correctly, as in not COLOR, it's COLOUR is how you spell it in English. Streak Sutcliffe come up with the Beatles name, beat music, and less like Frenchy styley. I think they were originally called Silver John, John and Big Long John and the Silver Beatles or something like that. Which would be before they went. They were called the Silver Beatles at one point, but yeah. Obviously, that came from Buddy Holly and the Crickets. So, how's David Bowie and the Spiders from Mars? Are they spelt? Is there not a band called Spider with a Y? I think there might be. I'm thinking it's an 80s new wave of heavy metal band called Spider. SPYDER. Anyone back me up on that? I'm not sure. I might be getting them mixed up. Scottish spelling windy. Spider. Yes, there you go. I think, did Spider have a bass player called Sniffer? And there was an ad, he played a Washburn B20 bass, because I remember looking at a Washburn B20 bass and I didn't get it. It wasn't that expensive. It was down in London and it had been won in a competition. It was red and it had been won in a competition that you bought a Spider single and somebody, and in it was like a thing you sent away to win Sniffer's bass. And I think that was from Spider. Zach Wilde, okay, yeah, totally. Adam and the Ants. Does it have a Z in it? Floyd's original name was Sigma 6. I quite like Sigma 6. These animal pansies were spelled properly in my previous based reality, but they had copyright problems because you can't trademark beetle because it's actually already a word. So you got to make up your own word. I reckon it's something as sinister as that. Johnny and the Moondogs. Possibly. There is a band called Moondog or a guy called Moondog. Spider Bite. I see they've got two ways to spell bite incorrectly as well. It's great. I think that's the way to do it. Just spell it wrong. All these people spell their name. And why is Pink Floyd not P-Y-N-K? You know what I mean? They missed one. I think it's the Zeppelin not spelled Zeppelin correctly as well. Bananarama. Yeah, just how? Yeah, it's like they just got carried away writing it. You wonder if that was originally a poster and they kind of get distracted with banana, shit, too many ananas, or just make it Bananarama. Yeah, so this amp's still working. It's just so powerful, that amp. It's ridiculous. I can just totally see like a country player in the 80s absolutely going mad for something like that because it's just got the cleans, so much brightness and mid in it. Cut through any mix. Yeah. Bananarama or whatever. I'd hit it. Yeah, totally. Any of them, Mr. Whitesnake, basically, even now. Same with Girls' School. Yeah, any of them. Yeah, fuck it. They'd all get it. Even though they're the same age as my mum, that's fine. I'm sure Bananarama are the same. What was the other one? The Bangles as well. One of them was particularly super hot. Not that was ever any reason for me listening to things. I do worry a little bit about Baby Metal actually, because they're now of an age you can perv on them, so it's like kind of a wee bit weird, especially the new girl Momoko. She's pure stunning, really weird looking, but she looks real fun. But that's not why I listen to Baby Metal, because I used to listen to it on a CD in the car, therefore I couldn't see them. Nothing perverse there. Right, I'm gonna have one more fag there. I'm gonna hit the hay. Has anyone in particularly want to ask or anything new? Who's got a new? What's everyone's favorite guitar? Not best guitar. What's everyone's favorite guitar? I'll start off by saying right now it's this. Partly through snobbery, just saying like through snobbery, but it's really good as well as being really snobby with the fancy stuff on it. Also, it's new. Yeah, I know. Joachim. I'll go for the fact that your name is Joachim Ibanez Blazer 550. I'm going to say best guitar you've got is Ibanez, or your favorite guitar is the BL 550. No, it's fine. You can get some of my favorite stuff. Isn't necessarily the best stuff. You know, as you look at favorite films, it's like pure. Yeah, you get your Flash Gordons and your Krulls and stuff like that. They're my favorite films. Are they the best films? Well, I'm not really going to go up on a post and argue that Flash Gordon's the best film ever made. It's one of my favorites and it's fantastic, but it's maybe not the best. It doesn't have particularly witty dialogue and any sort of deep meaning, but that doesn't matter. It's what it is. Your white Telecaster, we need more information than that. You can't just have a white Telecaster. What kind of Telecaster is it? And I just for the record, I can see I don't actually have a white Telecaster. I've got an off-white, a sort of creamy Telecaster, which is fantastic. It's not my best guitar, but it's a stunner. Ibanez Roadster 2 BBL. It's not a Roadster 2. Joachim, is it? BBL 550. I don't know what a BBL. Must be the Blazer one. My old Strat, obviously. Yeah, you've got the. I think I saw someone selling that. It's got the one with the funny bridge on it. Hey, Tony P. Yeah, Ibanez SB70. Bought one used in 83, sold now 2000. I don't really know what that one is. Got an Area Maxis with what looks like a Mako body with a mahogany top with upgraded Wilkinson pickups. Cool. I think I've got a guitar quite similar to the Area Mac. In fact, it's a Washburn. That one. Whatever one. That one. It's a Washburn, a similar sort of thing. I've got that Area Viper, which I don't think's. It might be the same as the Mac or very similar, just a different section of the range because it's all black. Range of a Johnson. Yep. Had a couple of Johnsons. Johnson guitars are pretty good actually. Had one. It was I think I sold it to Blacktooth Fox actually. Your Strat is 40 next year, so it's a 1984 Fender Stratocaster. Then that's right. And that must be one of the last made in America Strats. I think in 85 and 86 Fender were moving factory. So in 85 and 86, the only Fenders you could buy that were actually Fenders were made in Japan. I think so. It's quite an early one made in. Is it Fullerton or is Fullerton where they moved to? I can't remember exactly. Something like that. These one of those cigar boxes, Jonathan. Okay, fair enough. As long as you want to play slides. My pal Wayne got me one. I couldn't learn to play it. In fact, I found it too difficult. You're better off just buying. I've actually got the guitar. Basically, if you want to try heavy guitar, it's an Encore Stratocaster. A very specific one. I bought one in the car boot sale last Sunday. I actually nearly went to the car boot sale this morning, just in case there was something like that. The wee Encore Strats are fantastic for what they are, better than a Harley Benton, but don't look anything special. But you can pick them up for. It's the one you get a chance of finding in a charity shop or finding it for 10 or 20 quid, and you're getting a guitar that's actually all right. 90s Fender Japanese Candy Apple Red Telly. Been beat up a good bit, but it's all the more. Also got the old 7.25 radius. You get used to it, Boss Hog, the 7.25. The first guitar I had with the 7.25 was my Squire Bullet, like the 16th ever Squire, 1983 Japanese built, and it was like pure, oh my god, this neck's pure like a broom handle. This is nuts. And then it wasn't like 6 months later, I started going, how come I've never come across another one of them? And I realized that, see, once you've had a guitar that's got the 7.25, you don't notice it as much again because my Blazer's got it. And I don't know. So a fair few. I do have 3 or 4. So SB70 made in 82 only, like Humbucker, Ash Roadster. I know the ones. Is it not called a Studio something? I know the ones. It's like they were using up the old Blazer neck. So it's got like a Blazer neck and then that's kind of not an entirely unlike this guitar type scenario. Studio, I know the one. I was going to video stick it on my YouTube channel. It's so there. Do it. That's why I started doing the YouTube thing, because I had guitars that there was no videos for. I've still got, if you look up a lot of guitars that I've got, if you type in, if you happen to be looking for it, it shows me up. I get quite a lot of views from that. I always get random every couple of months, one of the old videos of some bizarre Hondo or something like that I had, you get comments on it because it's the only one on YouTube. Last of the American Dan Smiths. All right, cool. The Dan Smith era Strats. I've heard of them. Your 76 Ibanez Telly, Dirty Blue Jean. Yes, I know the one. Well, I've got the a 74. The custom, is it the custom that's got the humbucker in the neck? And I've got if it's the 76 Telly one with the funny shaped bridge, I've got that as well as in Antoria, and the custom Telly's badged CSL, but it's the same guitar. Oh, Alexander, come on! It's like once you've got an Aria Pro sitting there. Love it, love the neck there. I've got a RevStar with a 12-inch radius. You get used to it. If I was choosing a guitar, like if I'd spec this guitar, I would ask for the 7 1/4. It's not. I think it's just a 10 or a 9.5. The one I'm slightly disappointed is I've got the guitar I've got that's got a compound radius neck, the FGN. It's a compound radius neck, and I thought that should be, if that was going from the 7 1/4 up to 10 or up to 12, that would be fucking amazing. It's not. It starts at like 10 or 12 and goes up to 16, and it's like, I would like to have. I do like the 7 1/4. Quite a lot of the Japanese guitars I've got have that on them, which I didn't know, but everyone I've bought since the thing. I just get used to whatever guitar it is. Sometimes it feels right, sometimes it feels wrong. A 1982 Yamaha SG600. I bet you that's pretty good. I mean, I can't fault the Yamaha SGs that I've played. They're fantastic. They are quite heavy, or the one I had is quite heavy. I'm just too used to the shape. There's something about the horns I don't find pretty about a Yamaha SG. I'm not saying knocking anything about the guitars. They're fucking fantastic. They just kind of look a bit fat or something to me. It might be because I'm used to looking at the Washburn Wing series, which are not as practically shaped, but just look nicer. Love your Yamaha 2 Trans Acoustic. Oh, I've still got that Ibanez Lone Star sitting there. My pal Ronnie hasn't come and picked it up yet. I don't know what a Trans Acoustic is, but sounds good. I get it. I mean, I just haven't had a guitar that's my main guitar really for years. Getting a new one. What you get, Mr. Whitesnake? I mean, it kind of sorted me out. I mean, if you'd asked me before this, what my favourite guitar would be, I'm not sure. I mean, favourite one I'm least likely to sell that I think's coolest is not necessarily the one I play most, or the one I most prefer playing. The wee Red Star there is the best guitar in the world. Like you say, Mr. Whitesnake, it's kind of flawless. It doesn't have any fancy shit on it. It's just that this one has all the fancy shit. You know, it's like it's like walnut burr, not veneer or even bits. One bit of is, it's one of those things that I have to tell people. But it's got to look at the binding and look at this and look at this neck join and the fact that the neck. But it's not really. Oh, is your Paul Gilbert getting it? Not getting any love? Unfortunately, it's not, Mister Ian. I wish it did. The thing is, it had a bit of a stigma with it because I got it at Christmas and then there was something wrong with it, so I got most of the money back for it. I put in pickups that I don't like. I put in Steve Vai Evil pickups because they came with it. I paid an extra 50 quid for the pickups, and I'm not really that keen on it. And then I ended up getting with a, you know, ended up with that RG as well, which actually, because it's I don't know. It's that whole stigma thing about actually being the Paul Gilbert one. That one I prefer. It's basically exactly the same guitar, apart from it's got 3 humbuckers instead of HSH because someone's modified it. But there's something about it. It doesn't have the same fear of not being able to play string skipped arpeggios and all that, which you kind of get with the Paul Gilbert one, even though it's basically just exactly that guitar. I think it's got a slightly different neck profile, but not hugely different. So I get a wee bit. But I should the Paul Gilbert again. The Paul Gilbert, it's worth money. I mean, I got it really cheap, but I mean, I'm just sitting there going like, okay, I'd probably get what 600 or 700 quid, maybe more for it than that Paul Gilbert, which is more than I would get for most of my other guitars, and it's not the best one I've got. It's basically the same as that, apart from because it's Paul Gilbert, it's worth more money. I should look it out. Your Electra, I don't know Electras. Oh, classic environment. What's the guitar that you've played the most? It's a difficult one, eh? I suppose. I don't, because remember when I was in the studio with Kraken House, I used to rotate my guitars quite a lot, but I did use the red Roadstar a lot, and I used the Blazer quite a lot, and I used my Shockingbird quite a lot. So they're probably, because you're thinking, okay, it's a 3-hour studio session, we're maybe playing for 2 hours or something like that. It's 2 hours at a pop. I don't really know. Probably there was a time it was my Ibanez Destroyer, and there was a time that it was the Roadster, there was a time that it was the Blazer, as these were my newest and most interesting guitars. Some of them I've not played very much. Not that I don't like them, but some of them you just end up playing them. Ace Lone Ranger, still there. What about my Gibson SG? Yeah, I mean, we're going back to, there was a time when the Gibson SG was the only guitar I played pretty much, probably, but I don't know if I played it to quite the same extent as I do now. The one I play most of now is my Recording King Rodeo Sweethearts. Is cheap, loud, and looks mental. When you say recording, Rodeo Sweethearts is that wee Gretsch I've got. I think I've actually got that up for sale just now. A night time last night I didn't. I just basically fell asleep and didn't go. Yeah, I feel really bad about it, but I was just too tired. I don't know, something maybe just getting old. Something to do with Saturday nights. I don't even know. But it's not like I was doing anything particularly interesting. I just was really tired and fell asleep. Pish. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily think. I mean, to be honest, even if you went for which guitar I played most this year, I don't even know. Maybe this one. Maybe not so much in videos, but this is the one I play just now because it's still my new one. So the answer is I've no idea which guitar I play most. Not any of the ones you can see here. Well, you have a rehearsing studio with that one maybe is the most often played. Same vibe as a Gretsch, but full colour paint job. The wee one I've got is full colour. Oh no, maybe just red. Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, yeah, that's it. I mean, if it's the one that's most practical to you, I get it. And I can totally see the fact if you're sitting there. Saturday nights aren't what they were if you're a good sleep. So they're all right for fighting. I don't really do much fighting, so never do. So I think I maybe just get a wee bit of Saturday night fever when you're just kind of feeling a wee bit tired and go to bed early. It's disgusting, isn't it? I was going to do my live stream as well, but I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have been able to do the live stream either. It just got to sort of dinner time. I had my dinner and it was just going for a wee sleep. There's gone again, bastard. Yeah, so I really need to try and sort that amp somehow. I'm going to have to check the thing, maybe. I mean, I do still like the the tube snob section. The weekend's going. They do, don't they? It's fucking. In nature, happy fun day. Not going on anymore. I've just skipped ads again, seeing as there's more likes and there are people involved. That means it must mean there's an awful lot of people just come in and dip away. But I think my Steams now are going to be more sort of. That's 10:30. It's about time to give up. I don't think I want another cider. I think that other cider was there. Fall asleep after gravy and potatoes. Gravy. It sounds really nice, doesn't it? Roast potatoes. It's like, why is Christmas good? Roast potatoes and gravy. Any West Tone action tonight? There wasn't any. I do actually have a few West Tones. I've actually got one I need to strip down and do that tomorrow. Take it over to Jen, the Spectrum 2 bass. Oh, works it out full on Rabbi. I don't know. I worry about works nights outs. Meant to do one with the Sabbath band, haven't done it yet. It's just that whole. My ability to drink seems to be much higher now, but my ability to recover is much lower. Basically. There's a second-hand Westone at PMT. What's PMT? It does have black pickups. It's a later on one. It's not a Japanese one. I mean, Westones. I've had more Westones. I've sold a few though. I've still got my Raider, which is a sort of explorer-y one. I've got the Prestige, which is a sort of like a top of the range Thunder with binding on it, in an amazing rose pink. Basically, kind of like a carved top Les Paul with a tremolo. I've got the Spectrum 3, which is sort of thunder shaped but strat neck, and it's a sort of blue sunburst. I've got the Clipper 6, which is a sort of Telecaster with one pickup, like a slightly pointy Telecaster, the one that Status Quo played. I have a Concorde H2, which is thunder shaped, but it's a stratty thing with two humbuckers. And it's painted at yellow. It's a fucking amazing wee guitar, that one. That might be me out of Westones. And I've got a Concorde bass in yellow, which I haven't built yet. And I've got a Thunder bass, which has been painted by J-Packs to look like a fence. That's quite a lot. It's a Korean Spectrum. It's a Spectrum 2 series. Yeah, but there already is. There is a Spectrum 2 that came out, which is the same as my Spectrum 3 in 1983 or 1984, where it was kind of the year before it was called a Concorde something, but it's like kind of that. It's just got a different. 1984, I think they went to black hardware, and it changed from the Concorde, which is chrome hardware, to the black hardware, and it became a Spectrum 2 and a Spectrum 3. Mine is HSS, I think, and I think Spectrum 2 is HH. And then later on, there was in 1985 there was a Spectrum Range, which weren't the same guitars as the Spectrum 2. And then after the Spectrum Range in 1987, there was the Spectrum 2 series, which were more super stratty, more modern, less thundery looking. Yeah, the Concorde H2 is a fantastic wee guitar. I actually went to someone's house and bought an SD Curly bass, if you've ever heard of them. It's not neck through, but the neck kind of bolts on this size. So it is basically, you can take the body off and you've still got a functional guitar. So it's like the neck is a bolt-on neck, but it's got a big massive plate. And that the bit of wood that the the neck is made of actually has the pickups and the bridge on it. It wasn't very good. And on the way out the guy's house, I was just down in the corner. What's that in the corner? So up here, I'm going to take that to the car boot sales. Up here, it's just a Westone. It's all cracked. Looking at it, there's a wee red Westone. I was like, 20 quid. And she was like, yeah, fuck, you're amazing. So the SD Curly turned out to be shit, but I got that Westone, which, because it was all cracked, I filled it with glue and painted it yellow, and it looks fucking great. Pre-owned Westone Thunder 1 electric guitar, natural. It's got black pickups. They've all got black pickups, but when you say black pickups, you mean the AMG covered ones. They're less. After a certain time, the Westones got a little bit cheaper. They had less brass on them, and they were still fucking amazing, but not quite as good as the 81, 82, 83 ones. By the time we got 84, they went down a wee bit, and then when you got a wee bit after that, they started making them a bit cheaper. My Westies Concorde 3. I think the Concorde 3 is probably my Spectrum 3, but from the year before. Monarch. Oh, do I know what a Monarch is? I'm not sure what the Monarch. Does the Monarch look a wee bit like this sort of thing? I don't really know the Monarch. Thunder 2. The set neck one, and the Prestige 150. Yeah, mine's a Prestige 227. So I think your the 150 and the 250 came out in the year before mine, because you get this sort of tiger top Les Paul type finish on those two. Boleskine was Alistair Crowley's house, was it? My pal actually died. The drummer from the Sabbath band was into all that stuff, and he actually got some bits from Alistair Crowley's house. He went up to it, and he got me a handful of nails that I was going to put in a guitar to make them the occult, but he never gave them to him, and he's dead now, so never got it. And the ZX Spectrum couldn't get a tune out of it. There you go. You gave away the Restone Raider. It was the orange one. Wow. I mean, I think, mine's the silver and sort of dark silver split one, which is beautiful. I love it. I think it's probably the least good of the colours though, because there's the orange and red A1, or is it yellow and orange, which looks fucking amazing. There's also a yellow and turquoise one, which looks fucking amazing. So I'm happy with the one I've got. I'm not mocking it. It's the one the Damned use, and when they're on the young ones. But yeah. Oh. 1982, 83 Concorde 3. Yeah, I think my Spectrum 3, which I think is exactly the same guitar. It's basically the replacement of your Concorde 3. It only lasted 1 year, so it's HSH or HSS, and mine has. Yours might have a Strat type bridge. Mine's got the Bandmaster bridge and black hardware and push pull pots instead of switches. But yeah, totally. Monarch is like a. Oh, I know the one. Okay, yeah, the Jackson Flying V with the one wing clip. Don't see very many of them. $550. The thing is, it's like once you get to a certain age. I mean, one of the reasons I don't have a West Tone Thunder, well, I've got the bass, is because I see too many of them, and I remember seeing them for quite common. They were never super cheap, but I remember it would be quite common to see them for sort of 80 to 120 quid. So I'm kind of used to them being that sort of money. For that sort of money, it's the best guitar you can buy, obviously. But now they're starting to go up a bit. I think 549's pushing it. The problem is, though, take that £550 guitar, if it's set up and played well, and then, as I said, like with a couple of guitars, go into a modern guitar shop with that Thunder and find something better for $1,000. Not happening. It's not worth as much money as it should be, which is a shame. Panic Miner. Hoping next year I can find one of those Squire Stratosonics, the P90 one. Once I had a Maestro Trem with the walrus tooth handle to do the SG special. Look, that's quite specific. But I mean, if you're looking, it's always just looking for these things and trying to find it. Our guitar selling for what people ask for. Well, that's the big thing. There's a huge difference between the selling thing, and the thing is, you've got to get with the Japanese guitars, or even any guitar from the sort of 80s. We're now at the stage where you get people of a certain age, maybe not so much my age, maybe 10 years older than me. So you're talking, kind of between 45 and 60 sort of thing, where you get people who they've had the Fenders and the Gibsons, and now they're thinking, I remember having an Ibanez Blazer, blah, 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 years ago. I would love to get one like that. So there is a person, if you've got, especially if you've got an obscure coloured one, where there's somebody that will pay over the odds for that guitar because it's the same colour and it's the same guitar but in better nick than the one they had as a teenager that they always wish getting rid of. So you've got to find that person. So when you see them go for a West Tone Thunder, go for 550 quid, which they do go for, it's somebody who's had one in the past. It's not, I don't know. But there's lots of guitars you see, and it's just like, I mean, I do it myself. You buy I haven't bought a new guitar for a while, but I was looking up, like when I got the Ibanez Paul Gilbert sort of thing. You look it up on Reverb and see what they go for. It's like, oh god, they go for $1,000. You know what I mean? I paid $250, but it's like that's not what they go for. That's what they go for on Reverb to somebody who's maybe not got the time to looking up stuff. I don't know. Oh, was that last night? The $80? Not like I've seen, but got to say Woody has put together a stunning band musically. We're just faultless every way. A good band is a good band, though. It doesn't really matter. Cheers, everybody. Have a nice Christmas. Hope Santa's good to you. Are we already at? What's the date? It's the 15th or something. So I've still got another one before Christmas. It'll be fine. The same with cars. People could reach an age when they have the cash and the desire to relive their youth. Definitely. So one that's working. There's some great deals in Marketplace for second-hand guitars at the moment, but I don't need any more. You just get more picky. I would just get more picky. I mean, I won't even... The last couple of years, I won't even look at a guitar for myself unless it's a Japanese one. And that's where it's kind of started slipping through a little bit with the only guitars I've bought this year. Okay, this one's new. I didn't buy it. That Tempest Strat and the CSL Telecaster. Yeah, but basically both I got both of them for 200 quid, for the pair. And so I couldn't really say no. I went and tried them obviously first. These were ones that I could have bought, done up and sold, double my money, no problem, but they're awfully fucking good. In case I'm working my way out. I used to buy old Mark 1 Ford Catinas for 20 quid. They are cool as fuck looking though. That's the problem with cars is though, you need somewhere to keep it and you need to keep it running, which I totally get. But I suppose if you can fix it yourself, it's easier to keep running. But it's still, if you've got a car from the 70s or the 80s, it's not just a case of you can just use it every now and again when you want it. You've got to do work on it all the time. And it's if you've got a guitar, okay, this one's new, but all the 80s ones and stuff I've got, basically, yeah, when I get it, it doesn't work. But I can just do it up, and it's, apart from changing strings, it's as good as it was when it was new, with some more dents, or maybe even better, just by upgrading. So it's like, it just stays there. It doesn't take up that much room. You don't need to insure it or pay tax for it or pay petrol for it. I suppose the petrol thing would be like putting strings on it, but yeah. Mark III Escorts. I think Mark III, Mark 1 and Mark 2. Mark 2 is the one that used to be the rally car with a sort of flat front on it. Bit cool. And a G-Red X. My first car was a G-Red Orion. I don't think it was a 1.6. I think it was a 1.4. That was the Back to the Future car. It used to, it had bad wheel balance or something. I remember going down in '97 to see the Who. I made my power driving down, and this is before when I didn't realize speed limits were a good idea, and it used to violently rattle between as soon as you went above 80. But see, when you hit 88, like the Back to the Future car, it suddenly went smooth. So if you drove it between 88 and 91 or 92, it was smooth. But between 80 and 88, it was like ding, 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 ding. And then as soon as you went above 92, ding, ding, ding. So you just constantly try and drive it for that shot. A 74 Mini, best car I ever had. Had a 1,200 square foot. Oh. Orion Mark 2. It would have been there. I might have been the Orion Mark 1. I used to get old company cars from my dad's company, so I had 1.8 diesels. That was my first car. I paid 500 quid for it, and it was horrible. It was really ugly, but it was fine. I loved it. It was brilliant. I don't even know, did it have a choke? I think it might have been, maybe it might even have been fuel injected. I did actually drive a Capri 1.6 for, I had it for a year. I think it worked for about 2 weeks that year. I bought it for 200 quid, spent £1,000 on it, sold it for 200 quid. So, Mark 1 Orion was up to 86, C-plate, Mark 2 was DTH. It was a Mark 2 then. And you had a Porsche 944. Wow. No, I never had anything like that. Did have a Land Rover Defender, which was wonderful, but totally impractical. I was trying to sort out how many kids could be squeezed into the back of the car in the 70s. Yeah, I think we're getting there. Mark 1 Capris do look amazing. Mine would be a Mark 3, I think. The Mark 2s look amazing as well, and the Mark 3s are the least amazing of them, but it was an amazing car to own. When it worked, it was fantastic. Anyhow, so that's 11:15. I'm going to bed. You're talking N+1 is the number of guitars that you currently own, and N+1 is the number of guitars that you should own. I get it. But again, I'm not looking for any guitars when they show up. Had a 1-ohmer Mark III, the most fun, but completely mental for doing the school run. The thing is, it did actually have seats in the back that weren't too bad. I loved it. I loved that car. It was so, you didn't drive round corners. You pointed the bonnet round corners and followed it, which was a hard thing to explain, but it worked. I even spun it out a couple of times. Pure super, 180-degree spin at super slow speeds at 5 miles an hour. So it's like pure, I've lost control. I've still lost control. I'm now facing backwards, but I've stopped. That's all right. Trouble cars cost a fortune to keep running. That is. I still keep a sack of cement. I'd heard that. We thought it was the 2.8 litre Capri. You had to keep paving slabs in the boot, so you had a chance of there being some grip in the back when you were going around a corner in the wet. But I remember when I had my Capri, I remember watching like one of the shitty Freeview channels had like the professionals on it, and you'd be watching the professionals, and they had some sort of deal with Ford where every week they would have another couple of brand new Fords in it. It was never the same car they had every week. It was a different one every week, and you would see them, and they'd have like the camera mounted in the car, and they would be doing the dialogue in the car, power sliding round roundabouts. You know what I mean? And it's like, really, you shouldn't be able to power slide round roundabouts unless you're going fast. But the thing in the Capri was you could power slide round corners and be well within the speed limit. If you're on the country roads, you're doing a drifting at 25 mile an hour like that. This is great. Oh. Okay, I'm going to give up for the evening. Thanks for joining in. I'll maybe try and do it again Saturday. Or you can power slide around anything. Yes, you can. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the joy of power sliding. I remember seeing a thing about it was why James May drove a Fiat Panda, the same as mine. This is about 10 years ago. And it was the fact that going around a racetrack in a Ferrari is amazing because you're right on the edge of grip and you can power slide and lose control when you're doing 200 mile an hour. Whereas in a Panda, you can be driving within the speed limit at 30 mile an hour and be on the edge of grip. Yeah, I'd heard about that in Capri's. Mine was only the 1600, or I think it might have been the 2 litre. Actually, someone told me that I'd been driving it, probably uninsured. Well, I was insured for the 1600 because that's what it said on it, but I think apparently it had a 2 litre engine in it. Back to power slide into handbrake U-turns in a Capri. Never got to the handbrake U-turns, but I mean, it was great fun fucking pulling out. Also, the biggest power slide I ever did was my dad's Z3. I'd taken it out for a wee drive. It was like the wee BMW, the James Bond one, because he had the James Bond pack on it. And I was coming out of just Whitegates in Kirky. And I was like, a wee bit late, I'll just boot it. And it was like, whoa, here we go. Great. What's the subscriber count? I'll check. I don't know if anyone. I don't think anyone is new in here. We'll have a look. I was at. It's 997. 993 was what I was at. If I refresh that, I'm at still 993. 7 to go. So 7 to go should be good. And Capri's have to be driven like you stole them. Yes, you should try Heelys. Life at danger. But I mean, surely people must have stolen Capri's just for the joyriding element of it. I'd love another shot of another one. They started to get expensive. I bought mine right at the end of when it was possible to buy one for 500 quid that still worked. A Peugeot 107, which is a Toyota Aygo. Yes, I just I had a shot. I was when my Panda broke down. I got a lift with the singer in Crankenhouse a few times. He was in Cumbernauld and picked me up, and he had the Aygo, and it's awful small. It's like the difference between it looks the same as the Panda, but the Panda takes a bass guitar, whereas the Aygo in his one, I had it in a case, and the only way it would fit into the car was if you folded the seats flats and you put the case upright on its end and put it diagonally, and it's just, even though it looks the same size as the Panda is very big on the inside. So that was why I didn't get a Toyota Aygo. I got another Panda. Okay, so I had a follow-up. The Ford Probe and the Ford Cougar. The Probe, yes. I can picture both of them. I remember the Probe. It's like pure yes. Well named. I didn't know they were rear-wheel drive. I don't have a driver's license. Don't even like being in a car. There's fun to be had. I never realised there could be fun in having a car until I got to Capri, and then I would actually go out for drives because it was working. Like actually just going for a drive because it was actually fun to drive. No other car I've ever had has been fun to drive. At least 2 Capris a day. They're gone. I don't think you get Capris at all anymore. I just remember looking on eBay and you would get occasional Capris. The one I always wanted, I remember seeing it. It was really badly dented. It was some old dude had it, and it was like I'd only done 25,000 miles. It was a 1.3, so not a desirable one, but it was beige with a brown vinyl roof. It just looked cool as fuck. I like driving on the interstate across USA. I don't know. I mean, I think next time we go to, Jen's already talking about going back to America for the next guitarathon, and I kind of said, I'm pretty sure I can drive on the wrong side of the road, it'll be fine. So I think there might be something like that. 1.3 poverty spec Caprice are rare. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I have to say that the one at 1.6, although it might have been a 2 litre, the one I had, was not underpowered as far as I'm concerned. It's you could lose it, you know. I mean, it's just, you could basically crash at any corner in it if you weren't paying attention, or if you were trying to. The American highways, my experience of American highways, which was all in the 2 weeks I was in America, like a month ago, is their on ramps are very, very fucking fast. As in, it's like you're on and you have to get to 60, so it's like pure screaming to get up to the speed of the traffic. But in general, people drive slower than they do here. I mean, if I was driving like my Panda in America, I'd probably get pulled over for being, hey man, calm down. Because I'm just used to just like not necessarily going fast, but accelerating fast. I had a fetish for 3 litre white Capris. Yeah, I can't. I mean, the thing is, the one I had is that obviously it had the big bonnet, but see, because it only had the 1.6 litre engine in it, you could there was bits you could almost stand in below the bonnet. So you're like, here's your bonnet, dunk, dunk. Where's the engine? There. So the engine was there, and then the bonnet was this size. Obviously, because it was meant to take, it could take the 3 litre as well. Then we're going to be for Evos. I don't know. Those big desert roads would be great. Possibly, I don't know. It'd just be boring now. They have robots in Switzerland. They had robots. I saw robots in America. I think it's one of my videos. It was like a clean up an aisle 6 robot, like a smiley face drawn on it. Kind of reminded me of. You ever seen the film Moon? Check it out. It's a good film. But he's like put a smiley face on whatever the robot thing is in that, and it's basically, it kind of reminded me of that. It just kind of walks about. It was like, it's kind of freaky. Too busy learning how to skin up in pitch black in the back of a transit in the M8 at 3 a.m. sitting on a base amp tomorrow about driving. I get it. We've all been there. Driving through Death Valley wouldn't be boring, no. The fear of death would keep you awake. Okay, right. There's adverts coming up in 40 seconds. In fact, I'll just end it and then you can all stay on and watch the adverts. That'd be great. I just let a fag while going on around about. Remember cars used to have ashtrays? The bonnets and Capris were try driving to Loch Goylehead. Done it. Especially see the bit of road between. Oh, you're talking about Loch Goylehead. I'm thinking of Loch Gilphead. Yeah, I know the roads. Is that called Hell's Glen or something like that? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, Moon was awesome. Check out, if you haven't seen it, Sisu, Sisu. Anyone who's not seen a film of, I think it's maybe just from this year or last year, it's fucking good. Okay. Moon was directed by David Bowie's son. We're all full of these things. Okay, night. You're all on adverts. I shall catch you all later. Videos during the thing. I lock out ahead, so I know. Yeah, you go from the top of the rest. Be thankful. I have lost my. There we go. Thing me a VW bug on the highway with an 18-wheeler coming behind you. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got the Panda, so I get that. It's small. But I also don't get respect from other people. I really noticed that when I was driving the Land Rover. You get respect from everyone with that, because if people are driving their big expensive, their big expensive Range Rover that cost 100 grand or whatever, they see me coming and go, oh shit, that might scratch me. Pull in, let them past. Which I don't get that much from the Panda. You get people just like, oh, it's an old woman. I'll try and overtake that at a really dangerous bit of road. You're just like, fuck you. So, night. Love you all. Videos come up during the week. Give me a shout if there's anything that you want, and if you can keep liking, if I can get up to another 7 subs in the next couple of days, that'll be fucking brilliant. Good night. Love you all.